All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Township Council meeting for February 13th, 2024. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was included in the annual notice. The meeting schedule is set forth in Resolution R-23-277, adopted at the Town Council's regular meeting on November 21st, 2023, advertised in the official newspaper on December 21st, 2023, December 28th, 2023, January 4th, 2024, posted on the bulletin boards outside the municipal building and has remained continuously posted there. In addition, a copy of the annual notice is and has been made available to the public and is on file in the offices of the Township Clerk. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Councillor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Councillor Price Abrams.
Present.
Councillor Russo.
Present.
Councillor Slager, absent. Councillor Terry.
Present.
Mayor Spiller.
Present. Thank you very much. We have the, we'll move the agenda with flexibility. We have the minutes from from December 19th, 2023, and January 2nd, 2024, and January 30th, 2024. And I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions, concern, modifications? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Abstentions? Thank you very much. We have those as well. We have, I'd like to go to next a proclamation. This proclamation is in recognition of Black History Month. And whereas Black History Month is the month in which we bear witness to the progress, richness, and diversity of African American achievement, and whereas during the 1920s, an African American named Carter Woodson created and promoted Negro History Week, which was celebrated in February because it included the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Whereas in 1976, the month-long celebration was implemented as a time for Americans to reflect on both the history and teachings of African Americans, a history which goes back thousands of years beyond that of slavery and includes some of the greatest, most advanced societies the history of human existence has ever known. Whereas Black history is American history, and the contributions made to our nation by people of African descent are numerous and vital to the fabric of our society. Whereas celebrating Black History Month helps us to appreciate the diversity and character of our region and highlight the importance of sharing our cultures, customs, and traditions with those around us. Now, therefore, the Mayor and the Council of the Township of Montclair do hereby declare February as Black History Month in Montclair, and we encourage everyone to join us in this month-long celebration as we learn more about the collective ingenuity, creativity, culture, and traditions of the rich African American heritage. We call upon all Americans to learn more about the history of African Americans and to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities. I so move.
Second.
And I'll say this, I think as it's noted in our proclamation, important to note, African American history is American history, and certainly very, very important for us to kind of recognize that, put these pieces together. I think now more than ever, when we see in so many spaces and places people looking to rewrite history or not teach a full accounting of history, more than ever it's important to lend our voice with proclamations and other pieces to show this is American history. This is African American history. We want to make sure that all of the positive contributions that we have seen over the years are explored, taught, and students see themselves in the curriculum that they learn about each and every day in school. And certainly even the dark past of this nation is not glossed over, but also noted so that we recognize the work that still lays ahead. But thank you very much, everybody, and that's why we do proclamations such as this. Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to note that this is the anniversary, I was told yesterday, on February 12th, which was my father's birthday, so I never forget Abraham Lincoln, but it's the 115th anniversary of the founding of the NAACP, and Roger, Councilman Terry's been president of the NAACP till recently. But I think, Roger, you can confirm for me, it's the 115th anniversary, founded in 1909, and that organization is the oldest organization advocating for people of color. It was started at the time when I think a lot of lynchings were going on, and there was a lot of unity among Jewish and Black community, Christians, Jews, all groups, to try to stop that. So that's another thing we can commemorate on the 12th of February. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Bob. And my grandfather, Albert L. Terry Sr., was one of the chartered members of the founding group here in Montclair, and that was in 1912.
Next, we're going to move on to pending ordinances for second reading. We have pending ordinance O-24-01, which is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 190 Housing of the Township Code, and I so move.
Second.
It's moved.
Because then we have then we have a public hearing on it? Thanks.
It's moved and seconded. Without objection, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there objection to the public hearing? Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any questions, concerns, comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
Yes.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Next is pending ordinance O-24-02, which is an amendment to the salary ordinance for the Office of Professional Employees International Union Local 32 for 2019 through 2025. I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Without objection, I'm going to open the hearing to the public. Is there objection? Hearing none, I'll open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
Yes.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Next, I'm going to open for public comment on any agenda items. So if anyone has any comments on agenda items, please come on up, state the agenda item you wish to comment on, and give your comment. So please come on up for agenda items. Please make sure you fill the sign-in sheet next to the council for your comment. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes, and again, note the agenda item with which you wish to address. Please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Sorry. My name is Alex Morgan, chairperson of Montclair's Rent Control Board. I'm here alongside my dear colleague, Vice Chair Tony Martin. And tonight we're going to talk about why you see some amendments in your agenda tonight regarding Montclair's rent control ordinance. So part of our responsibility on the Rent Control Board is to review the ordinance once a year to make sure that everything checks out. If there's any amendments, issues that we see that's a recurring issue, and to bring it before the governing body. And with these recommended changes that we've submitted for this year, you'll see the addition of the definition of a tenant, adding the duties of a rent control administrator, and you'll also see increasing the late fee from $20 per dwelling unit to $200 per dwelling unit. And the reason why we're recommending that change is because according to the Montclair's Rent Control Office, 1,717 total letters were mailed out to landlords asking to register. 732 landlords have registered, and 334 properties have been deemed exempt from the rent control ordinance. Today, there are 427 two-family properties, 91 three-family properties, and 9 four-family properties, 23 multiple apartment dwellings, and 101 mixed-use commercial properties that the rent control administrator has not been able to contact their respective owners. So it means that these properties may be covered by rent control, may not be, but the office has been having issues contacting those owners. So in this situation, increasing the penalty would incentivize these owners to reach out and connect with the rent control office and file their rent registrations. Tony, would you like to say?
Before switching, because you'll get your own 2 minutes.
Yes.
Alex, you said some data real quick. I just wanted to get it down. 117,000,
We can
whatever.
submit that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was just one section, if you know what you read. It was like a couple of data points. I just wanted to
Yes.
understand.
So 1,717 total letters
1,000.
were mailed out to landlords asking them to register their rent, asking him or her to register their rent.
Okay.
Landlords, as best we know.
Okay.
That, we're making history here.
Just
And
finish.
so-
I want you to have your full 2 minutes. I just want to let him finish telling me what he said.
So out of that 1,717 letters mailed out to landlords, 732 landlords have registered,
Okay.
and 334 properties have been deemed exempt from the ordinance. However, there's still 427 two-family properties that have had no contact with the rent control office. So they could be exempt, they could not be exempt, but there's no communication. And that goes for 91 three-family properties, 9 four-family properties, 23 multiple apartment dwellings, so buildings that are larger than four families, and then also 101 mixed-use commercial properties that the Rent Control Office has not been able to contact.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So quick question on that too, and you can both opine on this. One of the pieces, I guess, as you noted, as best we can tell, and we're making history, and appreciate your guys' efforts in this. So thank you. Start there. Thank you for your work on it. What kind of indication are you getting that the increase, like late fine, would be the thing, right? Because I know we built in the ordinance, right? If you don't respond to this, then when a tenant, wants to file something or does something, you can't increase. You don't get the vacancy increase that you would get if you've been filing. There's penalties, if you will, built in if you don't file. So what makes you think the $200 would be more of a penalty or incentive, I guess we'll use that word interchangeably, than some of the other things that were built into the original ordinance?
This is our thinking. Number one, we need to get the word out to all landlords. We're struggling with that. We know that Mr. Scott and Deirdre Malloy are working on an information campaign, but we still feel that there are a lot of landlords that don't know where to get to your point, where registration is particularly lagging is among the smaller landlords. Those are the ones we're having more trouble reaching, and we have smaller numbers of them registering. So we thought, our thinking is that if we raise the penalty from, frankly, a very negligible $20 for failing to register to a more substantial number, like $200, this would generate compliance.
So pardon my
So
style,
our
but
indications from the community as to how to get better compliance, we don't have any.
but I'm a little concerned, I'll just say it, like when you note that you're having a hard time reaching, and it's the smaller, individuals, we're trying to get the word out, all the words you just used. And we're going from, hey, I get it, increase the penalty, but quite frankly, pretty big, right? $20 to $200, right? Big jump. But if we're not getting to them, if they're not aware of it, if they're not, by all indication, it's not that they know and they just aren't doing it. We don't know if they know, right? How do we, I guess there's a little bit of a concern that I have of jumping to that kind of penalty on the small mom and pops if we're worried that we're not even reaching them so that they're aware. Is there another way, working through the manager that we could get, into their, other methods that you guys have thought about or looked at or discussed?
Maybe we could get that notice into the water bill like you did with leaf blowers. I still feel that 2 years after implementation and all these letters have been sent out, that we probably need to increase the fee for late registration. And I think the majority of the board feels that way. A lot of people, like you or me, kind of just might ignore a lot of this unless we got a notice that it's a fairly substantial fee for ignoring it. Hate to be a hard ASS, but I think that's where we have to go. Alex?
Thank you, Tony. The only thing I would like to add too is when it comes to the late fees, right? We don't know if a property owner is aware of rent control or they're just blatantly ignoring registering. That's the issue that we face today, right? There's been a lot of press around the rent control ordinance. We're not sure if people are unaware or they're just not registering, but right now there's an incentive for property owners to not register and ignore the ordinance because there's no real penalty for them at the moment.
Well, this is what I started with, though. Shouldn't we be highlighting, and maybe it is with a registered letter or something, certified mail or something along those lines, which is a cost to us, right, as a township, but then, someone has received this or signed off on this. But including in that some of those pieces that we built into the ordinance, which is if you fail to register, right, you don't get the benefits of right? The vacancy decontrol and increase. You don't get the benefits of if you have to make a hardship improvement. All the things that we built in, like if you're not registered, you don't get that. And alerting them to there are penalties, because all of a sudden when you want to do blank and someone comes to you with it and says, hey, they're raising my rent by blank, or they're trying to do this, and they say, yeah, because it's been 5 years. Well, no, because you didn't register. So maybe in a registered letter, certified letter, making people aware of the penalties that do exist, because they do exist. It's just not the late fee penalty, because I'm just a little concerned that if we're not sure they're getting this even to raise it to 200, we're going to be sitting here with,
And you may be right.
427 properties that owe $200 instead of the $20.
I will tell
and what
you
are we-
this, though, to counter that argument. The landlords we have on the rent control board are frankly a little irritated. They've registered, they've paid their money, they have complied, and so why do all these other landlords not have to? It's a matter of fairness.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm just going with what you said, like, we're not sure if they know. That's
Yeah.
the one bit. Anyway, any other questions from my colleagues?
Yeah, I just want to thank you both, and Ahava, who started this entire TOOM organization, Tenants Organization of Montclair, is here. But, you guys are doing a lot of good work just a year or so, a year and a half, 2 years. So we want to make sure this is done right. So I think maybe the best thing is to postpone or table this, and then continue working on it. And there's only 4 of us here tonight, so we shouldn't make any final decisions. So would that be okay with you to table?
That's what we would suggest.
All right, thank you.
Yes, please.
Any other? So seeing none, I think not just table, but if you could work with the manager to see what are some, maybe we end in the middle ground, right? Maybe it's a $100 fine, but also we're doing a certified letter, and let's look at a couple different strategies, I think, because we're all in agreement, right? And I agree with everyone else who says it's not fair. Some aren't, some aren't, all agreed. But if we're just not sure we're reaching them, I think maybe one other good faith attempt where we try a different way, which is put it in some of the other bills as a notice, right? In a water bill, in a sewer bill, let's put it in there. I think that's not really a big cost to us. And with though, I would ask you guys to kind of put some of the things that do exist as the penalties if they don't register, some of the benefits that they don't receive. And then maybe, you're sitting here and you come back a year from now and we say, there's still 200 not registered. Okay. All for $200 or whatever, whatever it is. But I think we give them a fair shake at hopefully getting informed. But we'll look to you to come back to us with that. I think you're hearing that's the.
Yeah, and Mayor, if I may, I'm okay with tabling this. I would like to see if anybody else wanted to comment on it. We'll take that as well. And then, I'm thinking of a springing kind of thing, like we're going to give them this one bit of notice. And I don't mind if it springs to $200 if we give them the opportunity to cure by a certain amount of time. Like, that's what we can be putting into the notice. So let's kind of work in the next 2 weeks to see what we can tighten up in the ways the mayor and others suggested. Thanks.
Agreed.
Has to be an incentive, that's the thing, right? Thank you.
Thank
So
you
we're
very
not
much.
tabling, what are we
Thank
do, what are we doing then? We're not.
We're going to wait for the rest of the.
Well, yes, we're seeing.
Other public comment.
Yep. See what else.
If there is
Thank you.
anybody.
Anyone else wishing to speak to any pending agenda items? Seeing. Please.
Sarah Avery, and I'm speaking on the Aubrey and Riker resolutions. The majority of this council repeatedly fails to demonstrate an understanding of the impacts that conflicts have on our safety and security, and how collusion dismantles safeguards designed to protect us. We have paid Aubrey $58,000 over 3 years with little to show. We paid them throughout 2023 for the hate crimes grant. What value did they provide if LaPola stumbled upon the grant in a drawer, especially given the fact we paid Aubrey for months for a project manager and months of client meetings? $13,000 to apply for DEP stormwater grants yielded no grant funds, only technical assistance. $5,000 for the urban community forestry grant that was completely written by town staff. They charged us less for flat fee grant applications. There aren't any facts to support Lori Price Abrams' vague insistence that Aubrey has provided value to this community. The Riker Danzig not to exceed cap of $75,000 was exceeded by over $85,000. The RFP for the legal services contract requires the law firm to advise the town when they have provided services within 70% of the not to exceed cap. The vendor is to stop all work until the amendment is approved by council. Today is 8 months too late. Riker exceeded 70% as of June 30th and continued to provide services totaling over $100,000. Any attempt to approve this resolution is illegal and unethical. Who would pay a vendor for services that are more than double the contracted amount? Taking risks with our safety and security has real consequences to the community.
Thank you.
Well, I agree with you. We shouldn't be giving so much money to Aubrey, and we shouldn't be giving so much money to Riker Danzig. So when we get to that, I'll be voting no.
Mayor and Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for letting us speak about the ordinances. I just read the new business ordinance O-24-03, and it says the west side of North Willow Street. As I recall, the west side of North Willow Street already has no parking standing on the west side. Is it the east side that the ordinance is addressing? And if it is, I believe there are 2 spaces between the parking lots between the corner and the Op-His lot, and then Op-His has 2 or 3 spaces in front of it, and then maybe 1 in front of that where the new apartment building is.
I think you're speaking on the east side, if you're saying the up-east side.
The east side is where there is currently parking. The west side does not have parking.
Mr. LaPointe?
I was also
would you
going
like
to ask
address
questions about this, to tell you the truth, Andrew, so
The ordinance-
it's fine.
West there, so I will have to check with DCS on that.
Yeah, the west side,
And I'll get the answer before next week.
I had questions myself as to the whole street, as it's described, up to Glenridge Avenue. We got the memo from our engineer on this, but I really haven't had the opportunity, since I received the packet, to chase it down. So this may be another matter we may choose to table after we get some more information.
okay.
Yeah, I would look at it, so to your point, and I think the answer, specifically often is, it's not allowed, you see the signs that are there, but if we don't have the ordinance that backs that up, we can't enforce it.
Okay,
So it is, to your point, that side of the street is, already no stopping,
Yeah.
standing, right? But specifically there, when you're looking at, when I'm looking at it again right now as a review of it, the police feedback and, the engineering feedback right here, basically looking at this saying that it is that, west side that they're talking about, referencing here. So again, I would lead it to believe that it is because we don't have an ordinance that backs that up.
Okay.
And probably some other little pieces in here, but it is the west side that they're talking about. So it's not the east side that has
okay.
that parking.
I was just wondering, because...
Yeah, so I would just note it shouldn't interfere, if you're thinking it's going to change that side, it is not.
You're right.
Again, I believe it likely is because we don't have an ordinance on that or some tweaks on, some pieces around that, but it is the west side. Everything in here notes west side.
So you have to go through what the engineers wrote up about what's existing.
I'm looking at it, yeah.
What
mhm.
should be done in order to enforce it with PD.
Yeah, this ordinance change will allow the Montclair Police Department to provide stricter enforcement in the area.
Okay.
So it's, I'm sure then of what I'm saying.
Just a hopeful thought is that on the other side of Bloomfield Avenue, South Willow Street, in front of 2 South Willow, there are signs all over the place. People park there all the time, blocking a lane of traffic. If both sides could be included in that, since they're pretty much in the same frequently used, very busy area off of Bloomfield Avenue.
Mr. LaPole, I'll ask you ask the police department and engineer to look at that side of the street, which is,
We spoke before the meeting.
oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So we'll get back to you on
So maybe
that.
we'll table this and-
Well, I think we move this, and if that one is
Yes.
separate,
Yeah.
because this is where we do not have an ordinance on this. I'm not sure we wouldn't have an ordinance on the other side. It might just be an enforcement issue.
Right.
It's just introduction today, so it's.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina Thomas, JD, MBA, MPP. Most of you know me as Chrissy, and that I'm running for mayor this year. I'm a 54-year resident. I've attended meetings for quite some time, and I'm always astounded by the wealth of accurate information provided to this council by concerned citizens who research every issue for you so that you can make informed decisions. Your choices are often disheartening. As a council, you decided to limit our time to 2 minutes to speak about specific agenda items, which is contrary to the applicable law. Nonetheless, abiding with your arbitrary and capricious limitation, Resolution R-24-38 is a resolution authorizing an increase of $125,000 to the contract for Riker Danzig for calendar year 2023. In 2024, this is disturbing because, as you're required to know, not to exceed contracts require increases before the work is completed. Any work they did beyond the contract increase before the resolution may not be paid. It begs the question then, why, if the original contract was for $75,000 in 2023, this resolution increases it by $125,000 for 2023, bringing the outside legal services contract to a whopping $200,000 for 2023. Our in-house counsel, Mr. Burr, is paid approximately $130,000 per year plus benefits, and Gina DeVito is paid about $60,000 plus benefits, and Riker is but one firm. This municipality uses many outside firms on top of paying for those 2 in-house attorneys. Ms. DeVito, at least, is our municipal prosecutor, paid separately per session. And please don't forget the JIF, our insurer, to whom we pay a premium and possibly a deductible, depending on the case. So this means the services were already rendered in 2023, despite the applicable law that says funds must be encumbered before services may be rendered. I work for McCarter in English, and I have my own practice at 96 Park. So I don't know how we can do this. I know how to read contracts. Why don't you?
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll close public comment on agenda items. Moving forward on our agenda items specifically, we have Ordinance O-24-03, which is an ordinance to amend Chapter 327, Vehicles and Traffic. This is the North Willow one, and Bloomfield Avenue, Glenridge, and I so move.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
So as I noted, I will, it's on first reading, and so I will, move this with us tonight, but I do want to ask for some clarification myself of the engineer, so.
Sounds good. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Slager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. And Mr. LaPola, if you can look on South Willow, as was noted there, if you just check if that's an enforcement issue, or we also don't have an ordinance that notes it. Yeah, thank you. Next is Ordinance O-24-04, which is an ordinance to amend O-20-07, which is creating certain offices in the Township of Montclair and fixing the salary ranges, and I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments?
I do.
Councilwoman Price Abrams?
So, Mr. Burr, I didn't know if anybody in the office at present has the status of a paralegal, or the whole point is that we have a staff member, but we don't have a paralegal.
We don't have a paralegal position, so there's no paralegal in the law department.
This would be just to create that first thing. Okay.
That's to create the position.
Very good. Thanks.
Any other questions, concerns,
Yeah,
comments?
my only question, and again, is I thought we had a paralegal. Who's the legal assistant in the office?
She's the administrative assistant in the
That's-
office. She's not a paralegal.
Okay. But we did have a paralegal years ago. I remember
I am
that.
not aware of that,
I remember
Councilmember
that.
Russo.
But you should have one.
I think there was a paralegal.
You should have one, so I support it.
But that may have been in the, that a person might have served a dual position, she was the administrative assistant, but she also had a paralegal certificate, so she could do both, she could fill both responsibilities. When she was the assistant for Mr. Trembulak and Mr. Karasik.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Slager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Ordinance O-24-05, we already noted, they're going to take a closer look at and work with you, Mr. LaPola, and we'll look forward to seeing that coming forward. Next, we've got Resolution R-24-034, which authorizing the application to the New Jersey Clean Energy Program. I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? All.
I just want to really
Please.
acknowledge what, this is. We're applying for a community energy planning grant program. I'm pleased, again, that we have an environmental affairs coordinator. There was a period of time where that position had been left open, and I think we suffered for it, and I think we're doing good work that Lisa's, helping to develop programming and to bring dollars for it, so.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
I don't think it's the application, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Resolution R-24-035, which is rejecting the bid proposal received for custodial services. I so move.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none. Mr. Burr, do we need a roll call on a rejection of a bid, or we just?
I do roll call.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
I just have to ask a question again, because we have outside custodial services. That's what this is, right?
Yes, sir.
We contract out. We're rejecting this bid for what reason again?
We're rejecting it because, at the recommendation of the purchasing agent because of some confusion as to the exact staffing for some of the different facilities. So we asked that rather than us going through a bid process, et cetera, that we reject the bids and start over again.
Because I'm looking, there's 12 bids, am I right? 12 vendors
Yes.
that apply?
Yes, sir.
With varying prices. One was way up. But my question again is, I guess I'm old-fashioned, but I like to have our own staff do these things and have the contract out, but it's just contracting out, as long as the people are getting paid a decent wage, a living wage, and they're getting, benefits of some kind, but if they're being in any way exploited by the people who run these companies, and they're just using people who will accept less money, that's, it's not a pro-union thing, and it's certainly not good for those folks, but I'd like to look into this some more. So we're rejecting this, and we can revisit it, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to do that. Thank you.
Counselor Russo.
Yes, reject.
I'm sorry. Counselor Russo, what's
Yeah,
your vote?
I said yes, because I
Okay.
want to reject it.
Okay. Counselor Slager, absent. Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Next is Resolution R-24-036, which is authorizing the Township of Montclair to submit a grant application for New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, a 24 Local Recreation Improvement Grant. I so move.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. This is for Essex Pool Improvement Project, et cetera. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none. Again, the grant application, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Next is Resolution R-24-037, which is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to the Aubrey Group for the Township Grant Writing Services for calendar year 2024. I so move.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah, here's my question. Do we reduce the amount? Is that what it looks like?
Yes, we did reduce it to 50,000 to 38,000.
To 38, okay. Still higher than most other towns are paying, from what Councilor Cummings, who can't be here now, was concerned about, as I was concerned about. I hate to punish the company for something that, people are saying there's conflicts over, but if they're doing a good job and if they're paying less, I don't know.
Madam Clerk?
No, here's my question. What is the status again? If they're working on that grant for the $300,000 for anti-hate, are they involved still with that? They're working on it? We
That would
got
be-
the grant, but we
That would be
didn't-
under this resolution.
So this contract with them would allow them to continue to implement that grant?
And any
That's
other
a
grants
part
they're
of their
working on,
assignment.
yes.
Because I want that grant implemented. I want something done with that money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm conflicted, because I want something done. I want this group to be doing it. I want this to get done, but at the same time, there were questions raised about this group. All right, go ahead, call the roll.
I have a question. Approximately how many different grants are they working on, approximately, would you say?
As of the end of the last year, I think there were 5.
Okay.
And it's an ongoing process. We meet with the committee, and then we go through all of the potential grants, then we apply for some, we refer them to all the departments for comments. So say it's an economic development grant or it's an environmental grant. They then refer it, if the council's interested, refer it out to whether it's Lisa Johnson or Janice Talley, whomever, for their input as to whether or not we should do this, how it fits into what they're doing, et cetera. If we're in agreement, then we make an application for the grant.
Thank you.
So there's a very set process that we use, Council.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
No.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Next is Resolution R-24-038, which is a resolution to amend the fair and open professional contract for Riker Danzig, conflict general litigation attorney for calendar year '23. I so move.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah. It's another contract for outside attorneys that we're paying too much money for. So I just can't see us continuing to do this and spend this much money. So I'm voting no on this. I did it last time, I'm going to do it again. I don't know why. When a vote is taken like this with 4 of us here, the 3 is considered a majority, Mr. Attorney?
I'm sorry.
When there's only 4 of us here, and I vote no, and 3 vote yes, it's a majority?
That's a majority.
It passes,
Yes,
even though we
it passes.
usually need 4 when all of us are here.
That's if you have a majority.
If everybody's here, you need 4, yeah. So I'm saying that if 3 vote yes and I vote no, it still passes.
Yes, you have a quorum, more than half of the board of the council is seated.
I should know that, I'm just trying to do that.
More than half of the council is
Oh.
seated, so you just need a majority of the council
Those
members present.
okay. So I'm tilting at windmills, but I like Don Quixote. Okay, go ahead.
Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
No.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Next is Resolution R-24-039. Councilwoman Price Abrams, would you do the honors?
Sure. Bill list resolution R-24-039. Whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amount set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair in the County of Essex that said invoices be and they are hereby ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amounts respectively and hereinafter stated on the computer printout attached hereto and made a part hereof. Bill list date 2/13/2024. Total amount $3,233,755.49. And I so move.
Second. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Next, we've got discussion items. Mr. LaPola, obviously, we've reviewed these in our packet and can read them there, but if you have anything else to add to each of these items as you go through quickly, we'd
Sure.
appreciate hearing it.
The
Thank you.
first is a resolution authorizing a fair and open competitive contracting professional services contract to CGP&H LLC for Affordable Housing Agent, Affordable Housing Home Improvement Program Administrator. They were the only, this was put out to bid, and they were the only respondent, and they have worked for us previously, and they have done a good job, and that's, thus they are on the agenda. Item number 2 is a resolution awarding a contract to Sanitation Equipment Corporation for the provision of 1 rear loader truck for Montclair Department of Community Services in accordance with Sourcewell National Cooperative Contract. We are part of this cooperative, and we are purchasing this vehicle in the amount of $314,824.70. Number 3 is a resolution awarding a contract to
I'll
store
just say,
tractor.
to Councilman's point before of keeping things in-house, and certainly they deserve credit for the work of snow removal today, but I'll just note, making sure we have our equipment, which we've been kind of on top of here for the last few years here,
Yes.
is a huge piece of it. Took us a long time to kind of get all those things, but that's how you ensure that you're able to keep it in-house, is making sure you don't fall behind on that. So just noting it as you do that. So, but excellent. Thank you.
Resolution awarding contract to Store Tractor Company for the purchase of one Groundmaster tractor for the Department of Community Services in accordance with ESC and J Cooperative Contract. This is another cooperative contract, a joint purchasing alliance for the purchase of this equipment in the amount of $38,148.74. Number 4 is awarding a contract to Edge Business Alliance LLC for the Montclair Parking Utility Financing, Accounting, Reporting, and Payroll Services, and that is in the amount of $40,000. Number 5 is a resolution awarding a fair and open contract to Matrix New World Engineering, Land Surveying and Landscape Architecture, PC, for environmental remediation projects at the Montclair DCS Yard at 219 North Fullerton. And this is the amount of $115,475. The next is a bid rejection. Resolution rejecting bid proposal received in bid 23-22, 23-23 for the purchase of vehicles for the Township Fire Department pursuant to N.J.S.A. 40A:11-13-2C, which is they're unable to deliver the vehicles in the time in which the bid specified. Number 7
Are you
is...
getting a sense, by the way, on that with, like, the, I'll use air quotes because sometimes we're getting told this at times, but the supply chain issues and other pieces, are we confident that someone else would be able to meet those timeframes?
According to what I'm told, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Is there any value in moving this tonight? In other words, it's a rejection, so it's just.
Yeah, we're starting the process is prepared and ready to go again. So hopefully we'll be able to purchase it from someone who's able to deliver the vehicles.
I think the
Problems are not-
councilwoman is just noting, does it help us at all if we reject this today, or it doesn't help, doesn't make a difference?
It allows us to move forward. I think it's more of an internal, we're rejecting the bid. We can't rebid something that's
So is it
not been
helpful, is it
rejected.
helpful to you if we do it today?
Am I right?
Move it tonight, so
Yes.
therefore you can move to that.
Oh,
process.
I'm sorry. Yes, you can move it tonight. Yeah, that's fine.
Correct, yep.
So we'll
yes,
just
I'm
wait for you to
sorry.
finish or
Well,
do
do
it
it
right
now.
now?
Do it
All right,
now.
so I move.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, you said vote on the rejection, so we'll do it again. Let's vote on it. Madam Clerk, call the roll on that.
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Good.
Number 7 is a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract to Edmunds GovTech for support and maintenance of proprietary software for township financial utility billing, tax collection, and accounting services in the amount of $27,120.
Have we used this in the past? Is the
Yes.
same one? GovTech.
I'm sorry, it was $33,955.50 with additional average processing fee for a total not to exceed $63,000.
Wait a minute, it's 33,000 and then another 30 for processing?
27 and change, it's approximately $22.60 a month.
So it comes to 60,000 altogether.
Right. 63,000.
This is to help everybody be able to pay through a portal, right, for, technology, which is a good way to do it all. But you feel this is a reasonable amount?
The finance department does.
I mean, we don't have to do an open bid on this, because it's,
No, I believe because it's proprietary software they're supporting.
proprietary software, so they don't have to bid. Well, I'd like to be sure of that.
If you read the third paragraph, Counselor, it says the provision, under the law, the provisions or performance of goods and services for the support of maintenance of proprietary computer hardware and software is an exception to the bidding requirements of the New Jersey Local Public Contracts Law.
Well, let me ask you then, we're just reviewing this for next meeting, right?
Yes.
So could I get a little more information from the CFO? That's
Sure.
all, okay? Have her tell me something. Maybe she can make a call to me, is that okay? Got to go through you to get that? Or-
Fine. Number 8 is a resolution authorizing the use of competitive contracting for consulting services for swimming lesson instructions.
Yeah, I had a question because we're outsourcing swimming lessons? Don't lifeguards usually do that, or are lifeguards, or what is this? Just tell me a little more about this.
I can provide you with some more information for next meeting, Counselor.
Yes, outsourcing swimming lessons. Okay.
Number 9 is a resolution authorizing emergency purchase pursuant to N.J.S.A. 48:11-6 to repair severe icing conditions at 31 Parkway, Montclair. There was an emergency back in, I believe it was in November, and DCS, engineering, et cetera, had to address this emergency and repair the road, and it was in the cost of $18,350.
Now, I just want to ask, Parkway is that little street off of Valley, right? Am I right? We don't have the council person from the Second Ward here. Or am I thinking of the wrong street, along Edgemont? Am I right, Edgemont Park? Roger, you know the town better than anybody, right? Parkway, the little street, is that little street, runs off Valley near the Edgemont Field House down to Edgemont, right? Parkway. Am I right? I'm wrong? I don't know. That little street's Parkway? Yeah, well, I wanted to know, are we just doing something in front of one specific address? That's all I'm asking. We're going to do a repair
Okay.
for ice in front of specifically 31 Parkway. That's what I want to know. Is that what that is? Or was the whole street a mess? In other words, shouldn't it be maybe
Where it
more
was
than...
fixed was in front of that
front of that
particular
address.
residence, yes. But it was a major problem that had to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the street I'm talking about. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Parkway's across the street from Edgemont Park.
Yeah, I thought that was. You know, just so you all know, there's a man living at number 7 who looks just like me. And everybody says, that must be you, Bob. And he's a real nice guy. Number 7.
It's your doppelganger.
Just want to make sure the ice is cleared up on his house, too. Thank you.
Number 10 is a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract to Delta Dental for Delta Health Insurance for calendar year 2024 in the amount of $327,977.
What is this? What am I
Mr.
missing?
LaPole, do you want us to just move number 9, being that it was emergency work and we had to do it already?
That would be great.
It's bad, yeah. I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
This is Delta Dental? What are you on,
No,
11?
31 Parkway.
What are we on, 11?
9.
You're on 9 still. No, 9 was the Parkway.
Yeah, we're just voting on it tonight just because it was an emergency.
Oh, so we're going to
Occurred-
take care of
it
that
occurred.
street, my favorite street.
It happened already. It was an
Right,
emergency.
okay, so yes, sorry. I'm already on to
Counselors-
the next one.
Counselor Schlager, absent. Counselor Terry?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes.
We passed Delta, now we're on number 11.
Well, wait, what happened with Delta?
All right. That's just on the agenda for next meeting.
Right, but I want to ask about this.
Sure.
Okay, Delta Dental. So this is for our employees to get dental insurance, right?
Yes.
So it's a company that provides health care, dental care to employees where they get it for free as part of the package of benefits as employees, or is it something they have to pay into, or you know anything about this?
I believe it's
Contract.
provided to the employees.
So it's something the town absorbs the
Right.
cost of?
We
right?
have, our existing contract is with Delta. There's 2 parts to this. One part was a flat fee, one actually was a slight reduction. So the numbers were extraordinarily competitive, so we're recommending that we continue with Delta.
Okay, so I think everybody should have dental care. I just had a new crown, $2,000. You only get about $2,500 is the cap on what I buy insurance, because they never cover dental care under Medicare and a lot of programs. It's outrageous that this country has medical care excluding dental care for people. But I want to ask the mayor how he got dental care through this program. Don't shake your head.
I don't-
A lot
not
of people
shaking my
don't
head
have
to
dental
you.
care. They need dental care, especially older people. They need dental care. It costs so much to get implants, to get crowns, to get cavities filled, to get all this work done. It's horrendous. If you don't have your teeth, you can't eat. As you get older, you lose sight, you lose your teeth, you have intestinal problems. I got them all fixed. I got cataracts removed, I got 6 implants, and I just told you I went through the big operation, got rid of the appendix, got rid of the sigmoid colon. I'm in great shape. That's why I'm staying here. Now, I want to know if the dental care that our employees get is because they're full-time employees and they get that as a benefit.
Yes.
All right, so how come a part-time employee, any council member, particularly the mayor, could get that coverage? Somebody's got to answer that question for me because it's been bothering me for months.
All I can tell you is no members of council or the mayor received any benefits at this time.
Worth $28,000.
Okay.
I never got that. I was never told I could do that, and I wouldn't take it anyway. I don't think it's right. I mean, I think everybody should get it. Everybody should have health care, should have coverage. It's Medicare for all is my belief. But how could we be giving money, giving $28,000 in dental care to anybody sitting up here?
Well, good news, Councilman. I couldn't agree more in that I think everybody should have health benefits, and everybody should have dental benefits, everybody should have medical benefits. Happy to run on that in 2012 and fully believe that today.
What does that mean? Did you take these benefits that you shouldn't have?
Are we on to number
Okay, I
11?
rest my case. I've never been a lawyer. I made my point. Shouldn't be taking it. Shouldn't be getting it. Part-time volunteer employees here.
Number 11, a resolution approving participation with the grant program administered by the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General. Application for funding in the amount of $45,150, which is an ongoing grant, and the total of the grant will be up to $455,654.
And this grant is for what again? Department of Law and Safety, Attorney General, where I worked for 15 years, is giving us a grant for what?
It goes to the police department. It is to fight increases in violent crime. The money is derived from forfeiture funds during criminal matters when people are convicted or sometimes not convicted, and it is administered through the Attorney General's office, and we're eligible for a funding level currently in the amount of $45,150.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 12, resolution amending the fair and open contract of Cleary Jacoby Alfiero Jacobs LLC as special counsel for labor and employment, labor relations, and affirmative actions and ethics for calendar year 2023. It is an increase of $10,557.26 for a total amount not to exceed $60,557.26.
Now, let me ask you, didn't we discuss last time that there were 2 law firms that were going to do our labor, right?
Yes.
The town attorney again? There are 2 law firms that we said we were going to use for labor? But there's only one here.
That's for last year's contract, Bob. We're increasing their not to exceed from 2023.
Oh, so this is last year's bill, which we've got to pay more for Cleary Jacoby. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the clerk passed out another resolution for consideration for next meeting. Resolution designating BPP Holdings LLC as redeveloper for Block 3213, Lot 2, and Block 4202, Lots 4.01 and 4.02, and authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement.
This has got to do with the
Right.
Lackawanna development?
It's actually authorizing the negotiation of a
Financial agreement. Right.
agreement with them. They're being named as the redeveloper, so we can negotiate with them. It's not an approval of an agreement.
And we're
No,
not going to,
no, right.
we're not approving this tonight. This is for next meeting?
Yes, sir.
It's not for tonight,
This is on for discussion for tonight.
for
Unless-
discussion for tonight.
Unless the
Unless you
council
change your
wants
mind.
to take action tonight, it's on for discussion for tonight.
I don't think with only 4 of us here, we should even discuss it, let alone take action. we should have the full council's input on anything like this. So what's the reason this came up tonight? Handed to us right here the last minute.
It's to get it on the agenda so you can discuss it and put it on for a vote next meeting.
But I had no forewarning or any prepping for this, or, I mean, it just hit me. It's like so many things have been thrown at us the last minute. I know it's not midnight, we started real early today, so that's good. But, sometimes at midnight I've been handed resolutions to appoint a committee or something without being vetted enough. So I would suggest we not do any discussing of this tonight until we have all 7 council members. We only got 4 of us tonight. I've never seen such poor attendance, so I don't know what the reason is. Valentine's Day,
anything else to share
I
on
just
this
want
one?
everybody to know, it's
The
my
only
anniversary.
other- okay.
Valentine's Day is my anniversary, okay?
That's tomorrow.
So tomorrow, I could have taken off this weekend, this whole week.
Okay. Anything else you wish to share on this one?
I just want to share that under the law, once someone is named, designated as the redeveloper,
Right.
then they have to pay all of our costs moving forward in terms of attorneys' fees, engineers, et cetera. So the sooner, from a budgetary point of view, someone is named to negotiate, the better it is.
Understood.
So
Great, thank you. Mr. LaPola, appreciate that. Next, we'll go into public comment. All speakers must complete the sign-in sheet next to the clerk over there. And if anything you'd have to say, we have 3 minutes for public comment.
Good evening, Eric D'Amato, 25 Norwood Avenue in the First Ward. Like many people who moved to Montclair, I came here a decade ago with the assumption that the township was not only an oasis of beautiful streets, diverse schools, and nice restaurants, but also of elevated civic life. Unfortunately, I discovered this was not really the case, at least when it came to government. Instead, what I found was the same political boss culture, the pay-to-play contracts, patronage, cynical voter disenfranchisement that makes my home state of New Jersey a punchline and a cautionary tale. Now, after some years of local activism in these areas, I've decided to take the next step and put myself forward as a candidate in the upcoming township election to serve the people of the First Ward and to try to solve some of these problems working from the inside. I have a bit of a reputation for saying the quiet part out loud, and I'm proud of that. But I also know that being a good legislator means doing more listening than talking, and being able to work with people that you don't always agree with. I can do that, I think, in part because of the professional experiences I've had over the years, sensitive work involving national governments here and abroad, and international organizations like the World Bank. My overall goal is to see a council that prioritizes the needs of residents over the political and business networks that tend to run things in our part of Jersey. But I have other priorities as well, on issues ranging from the sharing of pilot funds to the schools, to the many ways we can make Montclair a genuine leader in environmental sustainability, equity, aging in place, traffic safety, smart development, the list goes on. The next council should ask whether our current form of government is optimal and grapple with issues like a potential future in which daily commutes to Manhattan are rare and self-driving cars are common. But it can't do any of these things if it remains bogged down in its current way of doing things. As we move into the heat of the next campaign, it will be natural for people to focus on personalities and the game of politics. But I hope we can also spend time talking about ideas and data and how to solve and anticipate problems and to add clean, good government to the many other things that make Montclair such a great place to live in. Thank you.
I want to warn you, when you're a council member, you should always have your pen with you.
It's actually not my pen, and if anybody wants to sign a petition,
You can't sign petitions here in the council chamber. I believe that's the rule, right, Town Attorney?
I'm not aware of whether that's the rule, Bob, so I'd have to
'Cause I was
do
told I
some
can't.
research on that, whether you could get a petition signed in.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Mr. Administrator. In regards to this latest snowfall, previously I talked about the overnight parking issues in the neighborhood south of Bloomfield Avenue, Fullerton, South Willow, Union Street, Gates Avenue. Needless to say, things have snowballed in the point to there were many cars, at least 9 that I counted, that were left overnight parking, so the plows could not clear the streets from curb to curb, which can become a problem if we get another snowfall on top of this. South Willow Street is 4 feet narrower now because it's only 26 feet wide to start. And that's on the traffic side. The parking side, they didn't get to the curb at all because there were cars parked there. So same thing with Union Street. Wasn't able to clear it from curb to curb. Those 2 streets are used for alternates for fire trucks getting up the hill when there's an emergency because it's usually not taken when Bloomfield Avenue is blocked up. Just something to make sure that it's done when there's a snow emergency, the call-outs, and if need be, the police over the loudspeakers, hopefully not at 1 or 2 in the morning. And someone also should go to 2 South Willow Street and inform those administrators that their residents cannot park overnight without permits, so that those vehicles are registered so they can be contacted when they need to be moved. Otherwise, they should just be hooked up and towed into the yards. So I'll give you a C. You know, did a good effort, but I think in the last 2 years with the limited amount of snow that we've had, we've forgotten some of the practices that worked well when we were getting a lot of snow. Thank you.
Mr. LaPola, on that front, I know we put out the notices, right, that be reminded vehicles. We also put out where people can park vehicles, right? We also open up some of the decks, right, to allow for that as well. To the point, I guess maybe it's a conversation with police and others. I know we're all hesitant to just tow vehicles, but if it's definitely announcing and then maybe getting back to some of those practices, I understand the concerns you're sharing. It's a narrow street that you're talking about, I know what you mean.
And can I add one more comment? Last week I talked to someone who had parked overnight, and when I mentioned the overnight parking, they were totally oblivious about it. They lived in 2 South Willow for 6 months and said, I never gotten a ticket overnight. I said, you've been lucky.
Yeah, it's 2 separate things, but I'll note if we can, certainly have the conversation with 2 South Willow, but the snow removal and removing all vehicles during a snowstorm, which I do know we, publicize quite
Right.
robustly, but if you can just, to the
Sure.
point, certainly, I noted it even driving over the street, much narrower.
I'm going to add, if I may, as well. It's also building management, like if do we have lists like that? Because I'm on the distribution, probably the people in this room are all getting some kind of messaging, you noted, Mayor, from where we put it out. It's on the website, you might get the push notice, et cetera. But for the people who haven't signed up in some fashion or don't go looking for it, there's just infrastructure, I guess, in terms of apartment buildings and others. I don't know what we have registry of. It's not quite like that formal, I think, but there may be some informal things that we should be making sure, that they're targets of ours. There should be someone to receive that stuff, so it would hopefully take care of some of it. Anyway, thank you.
Hello. Excuse me. Yes, it's one of those days. Okay. So, it's a beautiful day, actually. Good evening, Mayor and the Council. Let me go to the beginning. I stand here in front of you as a Montclair native. My family has been in this town since the 60s, many before. My name is Ahava Felicidad, one flow. Most people gracefully call me Ahava. I'm the president of the Tenants Organization of Montclair, the group that, with a collective of caring Montclairians, brought you rent control. Thank God, after what I've been told was 50 years of off again, on again, getting stomped out, etc. We didn't have social media back then, and we are grateful for everyone who came before us and tried, digging in their heels for a good cause. I live in this wealthy town, just like many of you watching and listening. I was not born with a trust fund. I paid my own way through my alma mater, Temple University, and Montclair State. I had a handful of academic-based scholarships and grant money. After graduating from Montclair High School in 1993, I am Gen X. I'm not a Gen Z or a millennial, but I love to work with them as well as Gen Z and the generations ahead of me. I was out on my own paying rent and bills since the age of 19. I know the struggle, and I also know what it's like to triumph. I've still found a way to help others along the way, and also up until this day and going forward. That specifically said was for my friends who've been approaching me outside in shops in town, asking me why more people my age are not here in Montclair advocating. I answered you all as best as I can. I see you and I hear you. Although I'm far from a dog, you could call me an underdog. Many of the tenants who come to join us are too under, and they need to rise above their challenging circumstances, be they temporary or to the contrary long term. This does not have to be the norm. We are here to help you get out of the storm. Maybe even be the eye of it. One thing you can do is commit to yourself, commit to help, commit to pay it forward. We are not a willy-nilly group. The Tenants Organization of Montclair is here to help you even while you recoup. Tenants Organization Montclair at gmail.com, 973-936-8848 for our Google Voice. Our next meet and greet will be on February 24th. Please check the @Tomb Advocacy Facebook and volunteer to help. Thank you all. Have a good night.
My name is Ravi Srinivasan. I'm a 20-year resident of the Township of Montclair. I'm also now, as of January, the chair of our township's Civil Rights Commission. And so I think all the councilors and the administrator, as everyone is familiar with, the Civil Rights Commission is tasked with addressing, including eliminating discrimination, recommending ways of working on addressing programs to reduce discrimination, reducing tensions between communities and organizations across Montclair, and recommending improvements in policies and advising the council accordingly. I know all of the councilors and the entire team here has been very supportive of the rebuilding that's needed for the Civil Rights Commission, and Councilor Abrams has been a part of that and advising on that. At this point, I have a vision, and I think a lot of the councilors that are remaining on the commission have a vision of driving this Civil Rights Commission to really become a leader in the state of New Jersey as far as the promotion of civil rights and really setting an example for the rest of the state. In order to do that, we look to your guidance and support to bring additional commissioners. We are supposed to have 17. We have 7 right now, given a large number of folks who have now left, addressing kind of geographic diversity, demographic diversity, diversity of viewpoints, of ideas, of communities, to really represent this township, given all the wonderful values we have here, and thereby really take that to the next level. So I wanted to state that for the record, and I hope to get everyone's support, especially the councilors here, in bringing that commission to its full strength.
Thank you.
Ravi,
Thank
before
you for
you
your
leave, before you leave, I know your daughter was a student at, was it Montclair State or Montclair High School? She wanted to serve on the committee, remember? And where's she going to college now?
Yes, she's at the University of Toronto.
Oh, okay. But, you know, we try to consider, we really didn't want to have too many relatives, but you're doing a great job. Thank you for taking over from Krista Rappaport, who did a long period of service. It's unusual to have somebody serve as chair for so long. So good luck to you. Thank you, and say hello to your daughter.
Thank you, and I look forward to your support in getting counsel.
Yeah, we're going to get those appointments, don't worry.
Good evening. My name is Lonnie Summer Padilla, and I am a resident of Montclair. Tonight, I would like to address an issue that affects the Montclair community and the values that Montclair residents share and hold dear. Whenever anyone is asked why they chose to live in Montclair, almost always the answer is we moved here because we wanted to live somewhere that is diverse, safe, has good schools, and a sense of community. I have lived here since 2018, and until recently, I never doubted that Montclair was delivering on each of these attributes for the most part that my family had sought out. Recently, we have seen an increase in acts of Jewish hatred in our town. Unfortunately, this is not unique to Montclair, but I feel that given the history of diversity in Montclair, we are uniquely poised to address these issues in a way that perhaps other towns are not, and I am holding on to that hope. Montclair is a town that has a Black Lives Matter sign on virtually every other lawn, and we pride ourselves on this very fact. Many of us, myself included, have stood in solidarity and marched in BLM protests. Again, something our community takes pride in, self included. I am here as someone who has and will continue to believe that Black Lives Matter, and as someone who recognizes the ongoing systemic racism that exists, and as someone who has and always will stand against all forms of injustice and hate. Last week was BLM Week of Action in the Montclair Public Schools, which is not new to our district. We have incorporated BLM Week of Action as part of Black History Month since 2021. However, this year, the website for Black Lives Matter at Schools contains content that is explicitly anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic, as that term pertains to Jewish hatred. The website was promoted and utilized by the district and was also provided to students and families. While most of the content on the website was not concerning and essentially the same as in years past, the new content that is anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic was not denounced by the district, nor were any measures taken to deter or alert students, educators, or families from utilizing it. The concern was discussed amongst many in our community and was discussed, unfortunately, in a divided way, and was also discussed at last week's BOE meeting. Now, Mayor Spiller, we are all aware that you are not only our mayor, but also the president of the N.J.S.A. Upon learning about this concerning content and doing my due diligence to research and understand how this content was incorporated and researching who and how this website with the anti-Semitic content is being promoted and endorsed and who is endorsing it, I came across the N.J.S.A. social media accounts. To my surprise, this same website, Black Lives Matter at Schools, was posted to the N.J.S.A. Facebook page attached to a post that encourages N.J.S.A. members to utilize the content in their classrooms. In furthering my research, I also learned that New York City Public Schools created their own BLM education website to promote and disperse the BLM resources for schools while excluding the anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic content. I urge you to take that down off the N.J.S.A. Facebook page and to please denounce it strongly and reach out to Black Lives Matter at Schools and tell them that you will not be promoting that website until they take that content down. We need your solidarity. We need your allyship. I appreciate everything you've done to stand up to anti-Semitism up until now. I urge you to do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lonnie. I just want to thank you, because I wasn't aware of what happened in the schools in that regard, but I don't know if it was 2 years ago now, but I helped to create and draft a proclamation for Jewish Heritage Month, which is in May. We don't have to wait for May, but at the same time, I think there's conversations, and I'd be glad to speak with you about that. We can make some time.
Great, thank you.
Sarah Avery, Irving Street. 1 year ago today, the CIO purchased $46,000 worth of Cisco security software that included 2 shiny new firewalls. Less than a month later, March 9th, the firewall was breached. Mr. Lapola insisted at the last meeting that we went by the book. We did everything according to the law. It is not legal to embezzle funds. On June 30th, Spiller and Burr withdrew $459,000 without authorization or CFO certification. What book does the town follow? If the town did everything by the book, why wasn't the March 9th cyber attack reported? How can the same attorneys, Detsky, Hunter, and DiFilippo, that work for N.J.S.A. also negotiate the PBA contract? The 2019 contract handed the MPD a 25% wage escalation that has cost this community millions, while the MPD, by their own admission, did less to nothing for the last 3 years. And Spiller has the nerve to say we have to pay more if we want enforcement. After staging his self-tribute at the last council meeting, is there any doubt why the MPD packed the room? Is there any doubt that he is buying future votes with our tax dollars? The February 5th Star-Ledger editorial focused on Sean Spiller's failures, chief among them his use of taxpayer funds to exact revenge on Steve Sweeney. Garden State Forward spent $6.9 million in the Senate race to support Sweeney's Republican challenger. $5 million was spent on advertising. Who even watches TV ads? $5 million of our tax dollars meant to compensate the hard-working teachers of New Jersey pissed away. Fran Grenier lost, but so did the teachers and the taxpayers and students of New Jersey, and we stand to lose so much more. The Sunlight Policy Center of New Jersey reports that Garden State Forward gave $10 million to New Direction New Jersey, run by the bagman Brendan Gill. My own investigation reveals that Gill hasn't filed any reports. Since it's Murphy's PAC and he's the governor, I guess it doesn't matter. When you have collusion at the highest level of government and lack leaders who respect personal and financial accountability, the community cannot thrive.
Mayor,
Mr. LaPaul?
while I normally don't respond to the public at this point, I am offended on every possible level that you use the word embezzlement. Don't conflate what happened in March when the actual hack occurred. Everyone, from when I got here in my review, the notion that we would notify the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, go to our insurance broker, all the lawyers that are involved, and somehow this was a big scam. And just for the record, I know that you're an accountant, but the notion we'd have a hack, and while they're negotiating with the bad actor, we should put it on the bill list for audit purposes boggles my mind. The notion that you take action.
It's on the bill list.
It wasn't on the bill list. It wasn't on the bill list.
It is on the bill list.
Let me finish. When the negotiations were going on.
It was
Everyone
on the
was
bill
informed,
list that was provided in the
including
agenda
CFO.
pack.
Everyone knew
And
what was
I have
happening. They
repeatedly
followed the law.
asked
Do not
for
accuse anyone
simply
of being
We did
embezzling
listen to
money
you speak,
unless you can prove
So
it.
let the man speak.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
my
gonna
time
accuse
was
people of
up,
embezzling
'cause
money?
he used my
Come up with your
time.
proofs. I know you're a CPA or whatever you are. Come up with your proofs.
I have all the proof.
Oh, you have all the proof?
And I have
Then I suggest
repeatedly-
you go to the U.S. Attorney or the Prosecutor's Office.
I have repeatedly asked for simply a copy of the ransom communication. That's all I asked for. So, stop stonewalling.
Just so you know, I Oprah'd the same information. My name is Christina Thomas. I went to school here. I went to Edgemont and Mount Hebron and Glenfield and the high school, and I graduated in 1987. And because of the great education that I got here, I was able to go to Wesleyan and Penn and Georgetown and UVA, and I got a bunch of degrees. I got a law degree, I got a master's in public policy, and I got an MBA. I can count and I can add. I was told by one of the friends that I met while I was campaigning that I came off as rude when I said that we need to hire talented, diverse individuals from within as required by the municipal code. I apologize, Mr. LaPola. You are not just some random guy. I know that you are
I think you called him just a white guy, just so you know. Go on.
Yes, I said he was a random white guy from South Jersey. I know, and you're from, I'm sorry, I'm glad.
I'm next at 137.
Right, you're from,
I used to run the turnpike in the Parkway, and I can take you to parts of New Jersey that are South Jersey.
right, you're from Union County, right? Right. So Union County and Hudson County are known as being less than, as being political, part of the political machine. And what I am is an advocate. I am a lawyer, I'm a trial attorney. I advocate for people who can't always speak for themselves. And most of the people in this town don't actually realize what's going on with their taxpayer money. They're confused when Bob says, why is Mr. Spiller having his teeth paid for when he's a volunteer? Why did he take a payout for insurance? Why might they all get indicted except for Bob? I apologize for my tone, but I think it's necessary for all of you to do the same homework that all of us that get the agendas on Friday evenings spend our weekends doing. We try and inform you about issues, and you ignore us. We tell you that there's a contract that you're looking at that you haven't read that exceeds the RFP, and you sign it anyway. It's offensive to all of us. So I'm sorry I offended you by calling you some guy from South Jersey. I don't mean to offend any of you personally. I actually liked when Miss Abrams stood up for her personal opinions about anti-Semitism. I like when Bob stands up for what he believes in. I like when Mr. Terry stands up for the police and explains why we need things, although I think we could budget it better. That's supposed to be the job of our township manager. Mr. Spiller is not supposed to direct everybody about what to do. Please vote for me for
Thank you.
mayor and sign my petition. Thank you.
A little revisionist history there.
Good evening, Mayor Spiller and the Town Council. My name is Derek Lacey, and I'm proud and lucky to have grown up in Montclair. At Montclair High, I've been a member of the varsity soccer and baseball teams. I'm also a student leader of the Montclair Top Soccer Program and the president of the Inclusion Club at the high school. Next year, I'm excited to attend Wesleyan University and be a member of their baseball team. Over the years, I have played a lot of baseball and soccer games all over New Jersey. The only two fields I've ever been scared playing on are Hillside and Woodman baseball fields. Thankfully, for all the kids coming up, the school district and Dr. Pons have decided to get those fixed. We were also happy when the school board voted almost unanimously in favor of fixing Woodman. We thought we'd actually have a safe, normal field to practice and play on. I'm here tonight to ask you to please rescind the stop work order at Woodman. Despite some terrible fields, my favorite thing in the world is to wear a Montclair uniform and compete as a Mountie with all my friends. This past weekend, I saw our family friend, Adam Rohde. And I know Mr. Cummings isn't here tonight, but Adam Rohde told me what a beast he was on the hoops court and the football field back in the day. He also told me he was a leader. I've tried to listen when Coach Weaver and Coach Childs in soccer and Coach Gavazzi and Coach Genshi in baseball talk about leadership. They talk about it a lot. They also talk about commitment and being about the team and not yourself. They talk about about sacrificing and competing. Well, I hope all of you show some leadership tonight. Don't let whatever dumb arguments or who doesn't like who get in the way. Show us a better way. Our coaches talk every day about representing Montclair the right way and with pride. We hope to represent Montclair on a new, actually safe Woodman Field in 2 months. Please come together. Let the school district move forward with their plan starting tomorrow to get this done. Please rescind the stop work order at Woodman. Do it for all the Mounties who have come before and who are here now and who will be here in the future. Thank you for all that you do for Montclair.
Hello, council members. My name is Nate Ullman, and I'm a senior at Montclair High School and a member of the boys varsity baseball team. I stand in front of you today as not just a student athlete, but an advocate for baseball in our community. I love the sport of baseball, and it has shaped my future as I am fortunate enough to have the opportunity to play baseball for 4 more years after my high school career at Clark University. As an advocate for baseball and other sports in our community, I ask you, the township, to rescind the stop work order on the Woodman Sports Complex. It is imperative that the field renovations are finished in time for the spring season for the sake of all athletes in all sports. As you may or may not know, Montclair only has 2 full-sized 60-90 baseball fields, Woodman Field and Nishawane Park. This makes it very difficult for the 5 teams through 7th grade to 12th grade to practice and play throughout the spring season, but our baseball program makes it work. If the Woodman Field renovations continue to be stalled due to the stop work order, we may only have 1 field for the spring season. As a senior on the team, I am fortunate enough to get first priority on the field I get to play on, but I feel for the younger athletes in Montclair. I know what it feels like to be in their shoes. The last time renovations were done on the Woodman Sports Complex was in 2019. I was in 7th grade at the time and experienced the challenges of the situation. During that season, our team rarely ever got to practice. That season, we were stuck practicing on smaller fields and driving 20 to 30 minutes distances to play home games. It was not an ideal situation for a 7th grader transitioning to the bigger diamond. It is something I hope that no other 7th grader has to go through again. I again ask for you, the council, to rescind the stop work order placed on the Woodman Sports Complex. It would mean a lot to the whole sports community in this town. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin St. Pierre, and I'm a junior at Montclair High and a member of the varsity baseball team. Never in a million years would I have thought that there would be so much controversy around something that seems so simple and straightforward to me. Our baseball field was not good. It was dangerous, and people voted to give us a new field. We were so happy when we heard that news. So it is amazing that we are now at a point that we may actually have no field to play on this year. As someone who is trying to play baseball at the higher level in college, my junior season is a huge year for me, and not having a real field to play on and be able to showcase myself does not feel right. It is also unfair to all of our seniors that have already committed to play at the next level in college to not have a field for their senior year to get them prepared for college baseball. And for the seniors that are not planning on playing at the college level, this could be their last time ever playing baseball. This also takes away from the sophomores and freshmen in our program. They will not have their own field to play or practice on, and this will affect our program greatly for years to come. The same thing is true for athletes in other sports who play at Woodman. This whole process, facing battles over community input, the size and layout of the field, the trees, and the turf, the whole process is crazy. But these issues were actually addressed, and construction was finally started, with just enough time for the field to finally be done for the season. But instead, we now have a half-dug-up field only 4 weeks before the season starts. Why? Because the town decided at the last minute to add a paperwork requirement and issue a stop work order. And this was a requirement that could have been communicated months and months earlier. So now what? We wait for lawyers to fight it out at the expense of the community? Or do you lift the stop work order and actually give this project a chance to be completed in time for the season? I'm asking that you lift the stop work order. Please, find a compromise so that this can move forward in time for the season. You know, people keep talking about how this is a great learning experience for us kids, to see democracy in action, and it has been. But I seriously hope that this has also been a learning experience for all the adults involved, and that the same mistakes aren't repeated as you all try to finish other projects included in the bond referendum. Thank you for listening.
Good evening. My name is Jesse Blau. I'm a Montclair varsity baseball player, and I'm a senior, so this upcoming spring season will be my last. And when the Board of Ed said that they passed the field and that we're going to get the turf field that we really wanted, everyone was very excited. It was a great moment because we worked really hard for it. I mean, we were staying up late on school nights, being at board meetings, and sacrificing sleep and homework along the way. So when we saw that there was a stop work order in place, we were all very crushed and disappointed because we had worked so hard to get this new field. For not just this year, but many years we've wanted a new field, and we finally did it this year. And every kid on this team's fought for it. Everyone behind me, all the parents, they've just done a lot of work, and to see the stop work order in place is very disheartening. And we want to have a field that matches our abilities and spirit as a team, and a field that embodies the drive for excellence all Montclair players have.
It is in your power to make this happen, only if you put aside your personal differences and do what's best for the students of Montclair. Not in the following weeks or months, but as soon as possible. Thank you.
I am not a member of the baseball team. My name is Richard Ullman. I live at 190 Alexander since 1996. This is the fourth time I've come to speak at a public forum about the topic of Woodman Field. The first three times were to the Board of Education with regard to approving the project, and I'll reiterate some of the main points that I made the last time I spoke, which was November 1st. The most important thing we do as parents and as adults in a community like Montclair is to focus on our children. What's best for them? In the end, that's priority number one, and we mitigate the rest of our lives. I mention that because it is that community sensibility that allows so many of us in Montclair to rationalize the exorbitant property taxes that we pay, because we have a public school system that, for all its imperfections, prioritizes what's best for our children. It's a system that continues to spit out young adults who are quite well-rounded, who have a sense of the many different people in the world around them, and who we can all be proud of. That was November 1st, the night the Board of Education voted to move ahead with this project. They were the body empowered to make a very tough decision, one of progress, to amend the rather embarrassing condition of Woodman Field that has existed for more than 40 years, when I played on the field in high school. And they did. I emphasize the date November 1st because after an extensive and passionate fight against this initiative, against progress, it was with surprise and dismay that on November 6th, the township offices suddenly began asking questions and creating requirements that in the preceding 18 months did not exist. And these same requests and requirements became those that had not been applied to any of the previous sports facilities projects in the last 10 years. Not Watchung, not Woodman, the football field, not Fortunato, not at all. It doesn't take long to read the details of the lawsuit filed by the board to finish the project that they were empowered to complete. It doesn't require expertise in the legal details of equitable estoppel or equitable latches, terms I got to know, to understand what's happening in this instance. In sports, it's an end run. Someone cried, they found a sympathetic ear, and now the parties empowered to do something are being held up, literally and metaphorically, by those who are unhappy with their decision. Work starts, work stops. Work starts again, work stops again. And where are we? Going nowhere. What aimed to be progress and Mountie pride is stalled. The embarrassment that was the condition of Woodman Field is being replaced by the embarrassment that will be no field at all, just piles of dirt. That embarrassment should fall to the adults in this room, and those who could move it forward, but for whatever reason are not. Sadly, it will also be borne by the hundreds of kids who look to use Woodman for a variety of sports: lacrosse, track and field, and yes, baseball. I'm almost done.
Yeah, thank you.
These are the most prominent representatives of our town year in and year out, and they are being done wrong by all of this. So my ask to you is this: do the job that you were entrusted to do. Enable the work that was begun at Woodman to be finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tyler Matheson of Alexander Avenue. I'm going to put the point to you directly. I urge you to lift the stop work order at Woodman Field and do so immediately tonight. You have an opportunity here to do the right thing. I ask you to do the right thing. I ask you not to let personal crusades or bureaucratic infighting, turf battles, ironically, turf battles to stand in the way of progress and player safety. That's what the issue is here. I urge you to move ahead immediately. You can do it. You should do it. It is the right thing to do, and do it now. Thank you.
Hi, Michael St. Pierre of High Street. I'm a long resident of Montclair, lifelong. I went to school actually with David Cummings. I'm speaking here tonight to express my frustration with the continued delays and roadblocks that are being put forward by you to stop the progress on renovation of Woodman Field. The conditions at Woodman that my son and his teammates have had to endure were awful, and they should never have had to suffer through playing there. Now you will be asking them to play on even worse fields or have less practice time, which could result in more injuries and affect their growth as athletes. This could also affect the rest of their lives. We will never know how much or in what manner, but it is really disappointing that it could have been prevented. Your decisions are affecting the lives of hundreds of high school athletes in ways you'll never know. It's really disappointing for those seniors that will not have a good home field to practice and play on. These seniors had already had their freshman year cut short by COVID, so it's really a shame now to be impacted by your choices. For some of these seniors, it will be their last opportunity to play baseball. It's also disappointing that the current freshman and JV teams will be severely impacted by your choices given the lack of other useful fields. This will affect the program for years to come. I find this unacceptable as a parent, as a lifelong resident of Montclair, and as a former Mountie. I've seen the Board of Ed's legal filing, which says that the town had more than a year to voice their concerns about Woodman, but did not express any, nor did it require a hearing on the plan as it did for other referendum projects. You issued permits for the trees to be removed. You issued a stop work order shortly after that, after a few neighbors had lobbied you, which was after the contractor had been hired and started work. Then shortly after, you rescinded that work order. Now, after work is well underway, you have issued the current stop work order and are requesting a hearing. Clearly, there's a lack of consistency and clarity here that needs to be resolved. I'm especially frustrated because these delays are unnecessary and only serve to disregard the will of the voters, which overwhelmingly approve the field renovations. It also runs up the costs on the project and throws the entire Montclair baseball program into disarray, both at the high school level and by trickle-down effect at the junior Mountie level. It will also affect other sports such as track and field and lacrosse. These athletes will have limited practice time or no practice time at all, which is critical to the continued growth as athletes and could lead to more injuries. You should let the Board of Ed run its schools and manage its property for the benefit of the students. You have the power to correct this. I urge you to take the steps necessary to lift the stop work order on Woodman Field immediately so construction can continue and there's at least a chance of providing a safe baseball field for 2024. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jody Ashton. I'm a 15-year resident of Montclair. My 15-year-old son has no idea what he wants to do when he grows up. He has no idea what he wants to study in college. But he wants to go to college. Why? To play baseball. If you ask him what he wants to do on any given day, he'll say, play baseball. In season or off, baseball is what motivates him. It keeps him active, it keeps him social, it keeps him mentally, physically, and academically on track. He's been involved in the Montclair baseball program since pre-K and has never missed a season except for COVID, and over the years has played and practiced on every field in town. As a family, we've supported him from a young age, and as a freshman at MHS last year, he couldn't wait for the spring to again play baseball, and this time play baseball with his MHS peers. When he heard that one of the items in the bond referendum was a new baseball field, he couldn't believe it. It was like the MHS baseball team hit the jackpot, a real field of dreams. Since the start of the approved project, it seems like the field of dreams has turned into a nightmare. How uncomfortable it's been to even try to explain to him why, if a referendum was passed and approved, why it keeps stalling. He walks to Woodman almost every day at lunch or after school to see what's going on with the construction. Even as an adult, it's uncomfortable to process and understand why, if a project got the okay, it keeps stalling.
If those involved made a commitment and approved something, why are they now caving to outside pressures? We're not giving up hope, not for him, not for the team, and not for the future of MHS baseball. I respectfully ask all of the members of the Town Council to please lift the stop work order on Woodman Field as soon as possible and let the Board of Ed manage this project that has already been approved and commence. Let these boys be proud to be Mounties, proud of their school, proud of their town, and proud of the adults that made it possible. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Sewell. I live at 249 Orange Road. I've been in Montclair for almost 5 years. We moved in August of 2019, shortly before COVID hit. My son is going to be 15-year-old tomorrow. It's his birthday. My son, when we moved here, right before we moved, I was a assistant baseball coach at inner city baseball team in Seattle at a high school. We played on a dirt field. That field is getting fixed and is turning to turf. In one of the most environmentally conscious cities in the country, all of the baseball fields are turf. You might have heard Seattle rains a fair amount. If you don't turf the field, you don't play. And they are turfing the fields in those areas. But the main thing that he learned with being a part of that team, because the team adopted him when I was the assistant coach. He was a fourth grader. They took him under his wing. He learned how to be an adult to a certain degree. He learned how to conduct himself. He learned how to show up to practice every day, how to practice hard even when you weren't at practice. He cares for nothing more than he cares about baseball. And to prove that fact, we have a family list, and he puts his birthday list, what he wants every year. This is his birthday list: a bat bag, baseball sunglasses, metal cleats, molded cleats, wood bat, batting gloves, a blue or white arm sleeve, and his big gift was a new first baseman's mitt. You have the power tomorrow to rescind the work order and give him a gift that could exceed all of those. And I ask you to do so. Thank you very much.
Hi there. My name is Jason Blau, 38 Fairview Place. I'm a 14-year resident of Montclair. I'm a father to 2 baseball players right now at Montclair High School, and I recognize a couple of you from the high school CGI program that you judged last month, and thank you for that. I thought you did a good job, very good job. So tonight I'm coming to you as a 50-year-old who has disliked politics since I was a young man. My thought back then was, what's the point? Nothing gets done, nothing changes, no one cares, and somebody else is always interested in something else. Then I grew up, I got older, more mature and patient. And guess what? I'm there again now. The continuing roadblocks put in place at Woodman Field by the township is cruel and seemingly out of spite and personally motivated. The town people voted to do this work. Why is it being stopped? Look at the state of the site right now. It's going to be a swamp soon. We should all be embarrassed by that. You walk by it, it's disgusting. It's like someone is trying to rub someone's nose in something and not letting this project happen. Why? We're wasting so much money now on these delays. I'm a construction manager in New York City. I know how these delays work. You're going to get hit. There's going to be all these all these costs from the construction manager of all these delays. But why? It was already approved. It was already going through. Why can't this project get done here? It's a microcosm of issues in this country, and it's happening here on a small scale. There's other people's interests blocking progress. Please, go behind closed doors and solve this in the next few days. This is don't be bullies, okay? Get this stop work order lifted. Do it for these guys who are a lot calmer and well-spoken than I am, and I'm so proud of them tonight, and for the future kids coming up. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Brad Harsh. I live on Park Street, and I have 3 sons that went through the Montclair schools, and one of them is currently a freshman at the high school and plans to play baseball. Before I go in and ask you to rescind the stop work order at Woodman, I want to first of all, thank you for your service to the town. We do appreciate it. But I want you to resolve, or I'm urging you to resolve this issue with the BOE as soon as possible. The project has been needed for a long, long time. One of my kids had oral surgery after taking a bad hop on the infield. It went up to his teeth. He had braces. He had to have surgery that day. You can imagine the mess it was. A turf field makes the game much safer for all the players. Some of the oak trees had to come down. The BOE already made concessions on field trees to preserve field size to preserve as many of the trees as it could, and it also agreed to plant a bunch of trees. Some people were not satisfied with these concessions, so it seems that they pressured the planning department to hold up the project. The planning department seems to have reversed course in response to this pressure, but it's been all over the place on this issue. The BOE asked the planning department in the summer of 2022 what approvals were needed, even before the referendum was issued in November 2022, and Woodman was not identified. The planning board president said in November 2023 that he can't force the BOE to come before the board. I personally emailed the director of the planning department to understand the issue. She told me the project needed approval under section 347-12, which has to do with setbacks, and didn't identify any other provisions that were required. But she told the Montclair Local in January that the project needed approval under 280-1, which deals with removal of soil, and she didn't mention 34-12 at all. Several comparable projects have been done in town without these kinds of approvals, and on November 6th, the planning department issued a stop work order, but they rescinded it because it was issued incorrectly. So they've been all over the place on this issue. If the planning department thinks these approvals are needed, it should have said so before the referendum was issued, and if it didn't have enough information at the time, it should have said so then too. But given this history, it's unacceptable to me to declare that the approvals are needed now that the project is already underway and under a very tight timeline to be open for opening day. Lastly, I'll point out the people against this project have managed to be very noisy, but don't be deceived about the level of support. 1,200 people signed a petition that Woodman should move forward. This number dwarfed the number of people who signed a petition against the project. So please respect the wishes of the many baseball families that want to see this project completed for the spring season. Thank you again.
Oh, should I start over? All right. Good evening, Mayor Spiller and the members of the Town Council. My name is Shay Goyle, and I'm a senior on the Montclair High School baseball team. I recently committed as a pitcher to Grinnell College, extending my baseball career for the next 4 years. With a decade of baseball experience, I understand the excitement surrounding this time of year. Athletes are eagerly anticipating the season, our weight room is packed with players striving to improve, and team communication is at an all-time high. What adds to the anticipation this year is the idea of playing on a new turf field. As a senior, this marks my final opening day. In my sophomore season, we opened away at Nutley on a turf field. Last year, we opened away at Seton Hall Prep, also on turf. This year, the schedule finally has us opening at home, with the expectation being on our own new turf field. While everyone is eagerly anticipating the season, this particular game stands out. Opening against Seton Hall Prep is significant for a public school, and defending our home turf adds to the magnitude. We are aware of the attendance, the impact on our overall season, and the opportunity to make a statement that this game holds. My teammates and I have worked tirelessly on and off the field, turning this season into more than just playing baseball. Having a turf field ready for the season gives us a sense of support from the whole town. On the current Montclair fields, I've seen players get hurt, miss seasons, and impact their promising careers. I personally missed my whole sophomore season as a result of diving on the dirt in Montclair. The district is finally doing what it can to prevent these injuries. Shouldn't everyone in town jump in to support this and make it happen faster? Please rescind the stop work order. It's disheartening that there is still a delay despite our efforts. I don't understand why anyone would want to use legal props to stop something that promotes health and safety. The bond referendum passed with a clear majority from the town. The baseball field vote passed with a majority from the board. And we now hope the town council will help expedite the process. Please provide us the chance to fulfill our dream of playing on a new turf baseball field, allowing us to make the town proud of our achievements this upcoming season. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Owen Snyder. I'm a senior at Montclair High School, and I've played baseball for over 10 years. I want to express what baseball means to me and my teammates who have played throughout Little League and high school. You must understand that baseball is a huge part of all of our lives. Outside of homework and school, it's by far all of our biggest time commitments. During the season, we spend even more time practicing and playing together than we spend with our families. With the encouragement of our great coaches who challenge us to be our best every day, our long practices push us to our limits. Playing for the Mounties has taught me a lot about baseball and also about life. I've learned how to work hard, how to celebrate the highs and persevere through the lows, and how to put my own personal goals second to those of the team. I can honestly say that I'm a better person because of the things I've learned on the baseball diamond. This new field is an absolute necessity for us. We need a safe, flat field free of holes where players and parents won't be embarrassed to play home games. Embarrassed. We had a saying on the old field where whenever there was a bad hop or skip, we would say, "Welcome to the wood." And believe me, it happened more often than not. You have the power to change that. With your immediate approval, you can help us change that negative saying into a positive "Welcome to the wood" by creating a field where me and my teammates would be proud to play on a new and dramatically improved Woodman Field. We've all been putting in a lot of work over the offseason getting ready for 2024. For some of us, this will be our final season in Montclair. For those of us who don't plan to play in college, it may even be the last time we suit up to play for an official baseball team. Please help us make it a memorable season by clearing the way for Woodman Field's improvements to get completed as soon as possible. I beg you to rescind the stop work order on Woodman Field. The time is now. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Eli Ruddle-Stolberg, a senior pitcher on the baseball team. Baseball has had a huge impact on my life. It's taught me perseverance, focus, and commitment. It has provided me with relationships that I'll have for the rest of my life, and it has changed my path to college. I started out playing t-ball at Edgemont and have played on almost every single baseball field in this town. I even got a concussion from a bad hop on Mountainside Park when I was in 5th grade before it became turf. I love playing baseball in this town and utilizing the many upgrades we have made since I started playing here almost 13 years ago. I'm committed to play college baseball as a pitcher at Kenyon College in Ohio. Our senior class has 3 other kids who will play baseball in college. Junior year is widely regarded as the most important year for college recruitment. At every game, our parents had to get videos of us playing our best in hopes that it would generate interest from college coaches. There are several underclassmen that have the talent and interest in playing baseball in college, and this delay in work on Woodman Field could be potentially damaging to their academic and athletic careers. I would hate for my teammates to be denied these opportunities because of dysfunction from our town, the town that we go out and represent every day, and that we are proud to have played for since we were 7 years old. I've been playing with these same kids for almost 10 years. We have 1 season left together. For many of my teammates, it's their last season to ever play baseball. We've been talking about how amazing this season could be since the moment last season ended. We talk about what it would mean for us in Montclair, and for Montclair if we could have a special season on the field that we helped get built. We are urging you to lift the stop work order on Woodman Field this week. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Andrew Snyder. I live on Edgemont Road, and I can confirm that it does, in fact, intersect with Parkway. Absolutely, whatever it takes. Back in 2006, the township elected not to proceed with proposed upgrades and enhancements to Woodman Field for nearly a generation. And without necessary support from the town, the field condition at Woodman, as you've heard, deteriorated significantly. It even made a list of the worst baseball fields in America, and kids got hurt because it was simply unsafe. And now we find ourselves with an approved referendum to complete the long-needed upgrades. You've already heard the objections, from the trees to the soil, the playing surface to the fences, and even the ticket booth. It's an endless list. And in this political battle, they'll just keep coming. But you have an opportunity to choose to either find ways to support it, to lift the stop work order and help the project move forward, or to continue to play politics and block its progress. This one feels easy. The money is there, the plan is there, and the completion of the project is well within reach. But more importantly, I think it's a huge teaching moment, a chance to show these young men about our values. Given all the polarization of the world we live in today, I hope you choose to set an example for them of what a positive and effective governmental process can accomplish. Demonstrate to them that democracy doesn't have to be about factions and obstructionism, and instead that leaders with divergent agendas can reach across boundaries, set aside differences, and find a way to work together to unlock important progress with urgency and pace. That would send a powerful message, and it might just be the most valuable lesson they take away from their time at Montclair High. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. More baseball. There are a lot of us. My name is Lisa Stolberg, and I'm the mom of senior Mountie baseball pitcher Eli. I'm speaking today also to urge you to rescind the stop work order and allow Woodman Field renovations to continue without delay. Our family has been in Montclair since 2010, when we moved here from New York City with our 6-year-old daughter and our 4-year-old son. Eli has been in love with baseball since 2009 when the Yankees won the World Series, and he became a Yankees fan. Eli would set up piles of books around our small apartment in New York City and act as bases, and then he put tape across the door to act as a strike zone so that he could practice pitching. We moved to Montclair in large part to have the space for him to play outside and to give our kids a chance to do the things that they loved. And we've been so proud to have have him wear the Bulldogs logo ever since, and to cheer Eli and his teammates on in so many of the fields around town. We're also proud to be part of a town that lives out the progressive values that we share. We see it around town with lawn signs proclaiming that Black Lives Matter, that science matters, showing LGBTQ plus pride, asserting that there is no room for Islamophobia and anti-Semitism and anti-Asian hate. We also have been proud to be part of the Montclair schools that have taught our children to be critical thinkers and engaged citizens. I'm not only a proud Montclair mom, I'm also an associate professor of sociology of education at New York University. For my entire career as a sociologist, I've studied the ways that schools and politics intersect. I've studied the ways that often in US history, this has meant that politics unfortunately gets in the way of doing what is best for students and their families. That's what I see happening here. By issuing and keeping in place the stop work order at Woodman Field, you're playing politics with our children and getting in the way of what's best for hundreds of student athletes now and for years to come. What is more, your actions are anti-democratic. As others have spoken about, our town passed the bond initiative that funded Woodman renovations with 84% support in November of 2022. Inserting town politics into this work is interfering with the will of your constituents. We have so much to be proud of in Montclair, but the delay to Woodman is shameful, unfortunate, and entirely preventable. I'll end with just a few of the wise words of our town's most famous baseball player, Yogi Berra. There were a lot of quotes to choose from here, but the one I chose was, "When you come to a fork in the road, take it." This is that fork, and you have the opportunity to do the right thing by allowing the work at Woodman to continue for the safety and well-being of our children. Please do without demand. Thank you very much.
Yogi also said it ain't over till it's over, right? Didn't he say that?
Good evening. My name's Andrew Lacey. I live on Park Street. It's with great optimism and hope that I address you this evening to request that you immediately stop the rescind work order at Woodman. The optimism stems from once again listening to these boys speak in a public setting, advocating for what is right with immense pride and dedication for each other, for their coaches, their school, and their hometown. The future's bright. My hope, town councilors, is a function of my respect for the deep history all of you have in serving Montclair, not just as counselors, but in ways too numerous to count. For some of you, it's been a full life's journey. You are Montclair Mounties, born and raised. So I have confidence that you will all rise to the occasion and do what is so obviously right and do what it takes to rescind the stop work order and allow the Woodman Field project to immediately continue. You know, this past Friday night, I was at the Montclair High soccer banquet. Coach Teray Weaver, a town treasure, a man who also grew up in Montclair, who came back to Montclair and is now an exceptional leader of young men, gave a 30-minute speech that was gripping, emotional, and really captured what it is all about to go to Montclair High and to be a Montclair Mountie. His leadership challenges young men to grow as people, to develop positive relationships, to compete but be empathetic, to handle difficulty with maturity and humility. The same thing happens with baseball with coaches Gavazzi and Genshi. I think you see the results with these young men. They bring passion and commitment to a job that pays a stipend that, if translated to an hourly wage, would not be legal. They do it because Montclair means something. There is a history and standard of excellence. The baseball facility at Woodman has stood in total contrast to that standard. It was inappropriate for high school baseball and dangerous. Thankfully, it is now gone and will be replaced with something typical at other schools and safe. Now, the only thing standing between that typical safe field that aligns with Montclair's excellence is you. The Board of Education weighed the situation, prioritized this field as a project in the bond referendum. The voters voted decisively. The Board of Ed overwhelmingly approved the contract in the face of vicious attacks from the neighbors. One neighbor didn't even stop at the BOE. They even confronted 7th graders with hurtful vitriol. Refreshingly, the Board of Ed members up for re-election, who had the courage to do the right thing, won in resounding fashion in November. I have confidence in the town councilors up there. You are committed, dedicated leaders. You know the path here. Let's get this right. Let's get this off the agenda. Let's get this lawsuit behind us. Let's rally for these young Mounties who bleed blue. Let's rescind the stop work order tonight and make the whole town proud. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Evan Ruddle, an MHS parent. And over the last 4 months, I've watched and listened to these extraordinary young people make their case for a safe place to play the sports they love. They found the courage to speak. They've been respectful. They've carried themselves with dignity. I wish I could say the same thing about the adults involved. At Board of Ed meetings, we watch neighbors roll their eyes and interrupt other speakers. One neighbor, who's a frequent participant here, confronted a student speaker to tell him that he was wrong and that she does way more for the environment than his environmentally conscious parents do. Another neighbor, who also speaks here frequently and told you recently that she loves you, screamed at 7th grade baseball players, 12-year-olds, that they were going to get cancer from the turf and that their parents would never have grandchildren because the boys would be infertile. Those are the folks you've been listening to. The rumors all over town are that you've issued this stop work order to appease those vocal neighbors, to gain an election advantage, to get yourselves out of a bad news cycle, to hurt Dr. Pons, to put politics, payback, and power above all else. We don't know if any of those rumors are true. What we do know is that you're preventing hundreds and hundreds of track and field, baseball, lacrosse, football, and other athletes from having the facilities they need to thrive, to compete, to push themselves, to bond with teammates, to be recruited to college, to play the games that they love, and most importantly, to be safe. You and the town officials you appointed are standing in the way of that. And when one of these young people is hurt because they haven't had the practice time they need or because they're playing on less safe fields, you will be responsible and we will remember. We're eternally grateful to Dr. Pons and the 7 Board of Ed members who prioritized student well-being and the much-needed renovations at Woodman. And we support their lawsuit because for more than a year, you had your chance to voice concerns and didn't. You knew what was going on. In fact, you issued the permits for the trees to be removed at Woodman. And now, your delays will harm kids and cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. It doesn't have to be this way. Presumably, most or all of you ran for office because you love Montclair, because you believe that local government can make lives better, because you have pride in this town and its young people, because you want to help and not harm, because you want to solve and not cause problems. It is not too late for that. We ask that you put politics and ego aside, find a solution, and rescind the stop work order this week so that Montclair students have the opportunities and safe conditions they deserve. If you do that, you will have our deepest gratitude. If you don't, we will never, ever forget. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. And with that, we will close public comments.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to respond.
You can respond.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to respond. When I was a kid, the only thing I was interested in is baseball cards. Mickey Mantle, that was my hero. And then Willie Mays. So I had no interest in politics till John F. Kennedy came along in 1960, and so I decided that that's what I like. I like John F. Kennedy and politics. Forget Mickey Mantle. When I was sworn in here as mayor in 2000, exactly 2000, Larry Doby was here. I know we just quoted Yogi Berra, who's a great hero. I loved Yogi. My father used to deliver the Yoo-Hoo beverages to him up on Highland. But Larry Doby was a great baseball star here. And in this month, we should remember Larry Doby. He was a Montclair resident. We dedicated the post office. Congressman Pasquale and I were the only ones there from the area that were dedicating the post office for Larry Doby several years ago in Patterson. So baseball is something I love. And from the time I was a kid, and Larry Doby being here when I got sworn in, he always said to me, because he was second, you know, after Jackie Robinson, he always said, Bob, don't be second, be first. He was a really inspirational person. And I loved everything you all said. All of you as students, you're like some of the students I have at Montclair State. I just don't want to hear such negativism towards each other. And the thing that I sent to all the people who kept sending messages this day, I'll just repeat what I sent to everyone, was that isn't there a solution here? We can have a win-win. Why are the superintendent, the BOE, the town manager, mayor, and council not able to sit down together, communicate with each other and the neighbors, as well as sports advocates like yourselves, and resolve this conflict? Please communicate and take my conflict resolution class at Montclair State to achieve a win-win for all. Now, that's just a simple message I gave, but here's my point. We are volunteer council members. The full-time staff people who are paid substantial salaries, and I'm talking about the superintendent, the staff at the Board of Ed, the manager here, the town attorney, these folks should get into a room, just like I think President Biden had gotten some people together to settle a strike, and Governor Murphy also did that when there was the strike. You get into the room and you don't leave until you settle it. All these differences, all these problems are political morass. I teach political science, but I hate politics. I hate the way political people play games. Right now there's like a conflict between people over personalities and control, as somebody said, and all this turf issue. I want the field built, but I want the neighbors also to be respected. Because I had a problem like that when I was here in Montclair, when they wanted to tear down 3 cherry trees on Bruce Road and Gordonhurst Avenue. You know where Gordonhurst Avenue is. Tear down the cherry trees to make a parking lot for 14 cars. All the neighbors were upset. They went to the planning board, couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop it. It was allowed. The property had the right to tear down the trees. But we all fought it. We were all very passionate. And I knew what it meant because it ruined really the neighborhood. Now, I don't want to see a big fence that's going to ruin 50 property owners' properties. When you mocked the ticket booth, it seemed to have some meaning to people that lived there for many years. The trees, yes, we didn't cut as many, but I don't know why we had to cut any if we're going to replace them all anyway. So what do we need to cut them all down for? So I have a lot of environmental concerns, and I have a lot of respect for the neighborhood. I went through it myself. I have a lot of respect for all of you. I'm just saying that we in Montclair should be able to get in a room and settle this so we don't have this continual fighting and delay. Thank you.
Councilman Terry.
I hope also that this situation is resolved. You know, I know that there's been some issues that are in the court right now, so hopefully soon it can be. I'm a product of Montclair High School also, and so was my dad. My dad graduated in 1939. I graduated in 1968. My son graduated in 89, and I have 2 other children that graduated in 1994. They all played sports at Montclair High School. Like I've heard from a lot of the young people that without sports, I don't know even if I would have went to school. You know, that's how important that it was to me. I heard a lot of good things, how it teaches you leadership, teaches you teamwork. You know, to be able to even sit up here and work together as a team, a lot that I learned from playing football, played baseball, ran track, you know, at the high school also. I know also what a lot of people don't know, that it actually infused the diversity at Montclair High School. Back in the 60s, you know, mostly the town was segregated. It was in like little pockets where people lived. You know, not many African Americans lived in Upper Montclair. So a lot of the kids, once I got to the high school and junior high school, we played sports. That's how, you know, I had an opportunity to go to other people's houses, learn, like, you know, where they were from, learn some of their customs, and to this day, we are friends. So do not give up on your dreams. I do know it helped me to go to college by playing sports. Continue to do so, but we're not against, you know, children at all. I want to make that clear. I want to make it clear, you know, that's why I'm saying a little bit about my background, you know, that we're working together, and hopefully that pretty soon that we'll be able to resolve this. And I'll be one person, when it's resolved, to come up there and watch you play. Thank you.
Councilwoman Price Abrams.
Yeah, thank you all for taking your night to come and be fully expressed about this deeply passionate matter. I think it's been articulated. This isn't really a matter before the council to take action. So I know you came with the hope that we could sit down in a room and make a vote or something, but it's really not a matter before us. Nonetheless, I think we all have heard, you know, again, your deep passion, your pain over what seems to have been, you know, before you and now maybe not. But I did wonder, and I would think, Mr. Manager, whether this has been something that's been considered or possible, but there are fields, you know, that the county owns at Brookdale and at Glenfield Park. I don't know if there's any arrangements, have they looked into that? These are just things that, like, those seem like possibilities. If you're shaking your head, so it's all been considered, I suppose. But I don't know that there's an action for us to take. We share the deep frustration you feel. I do think there is more than one side to the conversation, but it's nothing I've had a part in or shaped. And so we will be very interested parties alongside of you. We wish you all the best, and you will continue to find ways to live your dreams, I know, but I don't know how this is going to resolve or when, and I think we all do care. It's just not a matter that's before us to really address. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'll just simply say this first to all the young athletes who are here. You know, kudos for coming forward and raising your voices around something which you're passionate about. I echo Councilman Terry's points in that as a high school science teacher myself, longtime coach, you know, I understand, you know, the value, right, that you guys are talking about, and the passion that you have for your sport, but more importantly, each other, right, and what that means for whether you talk about a senior year or you talk about those coming up. You know, you're always caring about your teammates and those coming after you. So, as the councilwoman noted, though, the challenge here is we have heard from a number of individuals on this issue, but even hearing from them, you know, we do not, nor could we ever go in and say, you know, while council has decided, you know, issue tickets or issue stop orders or issue a summons or issue, like and I'll turn it over to Mr. LaPola to give his comments. The same way, we can't go in and also say, hey, you know, ignore a ticket, you know, get rid of this violation. You know, those types of things are built in a way that it's free from council interference, because if it were not, you could imagine where that goes, right? Something along those lines. With that, I think you're hearing from everybody up here that we hope the matter would be resolved as quick as possible, just as you would, right? None of us sat here and said, man, we really hope this field issue comes to the council so we can, you know, have a role in it, right? No. But again, when any resident raises concerns to any of our staff, any of our offices, any of our divisions, they have to hear those concerns, and they take whatever action that they deem is appropriate. And then, of course, we are informed of that, right? So along those lines, I think it's probably best at this juncture, Mr. LaPola, will turn it over to you, and you can probably give the best accounting that anyone.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. And I just let me give a little background here. the issue of this stop work order, the mayor and council have nothing to do with the day-to-day operations of this government. This was issued. They had no idea it was issued. I didn't inform them it was being issued or it had been issued. I'm sure the first time they heard about it was when they received calls from people like you. Just to give you a little background, I've been here since August. My reading of the statute, despite what may have happened in previous years and what advice has been given, is that the law requires, based on what was going to be done, zoning board review. That being said, I understand the issue of latches, and for those of you who don't understand what that means, it basically means even if the law says one thing or whatever, the statute says one thing, because you gave me bad advice, government, I can go in and say, based on that bad advice, I should be allowed to proceed because I relied on that bad advice. Now, whether or not that advice was given or relied upon or is accurate, I don't know. The fact of the matter is, the way the statute reads, there is jurisdiction. During this whole process, and while in a perfect world, we all would have liked to have that kind of interaction with the Board of Ed, those conversations didn't start up until a few weeks ago. Okay? So all the time this work was going on there were no stop work orders. You may find this hard to believe, but the stop work order was issued because the contractor at Woodman Field, hired by the Board of Education, tied in their water lines to an existing line without inspections or permits. It's mundane. It may sound stupid to you if you don't understand how construction works, but the law is the law and the rules are the rules. And just because it's the Board of Ed or anybody else, if you're required to have an inspection, you have to have an inspection. If you're not allowed to tie into a water line, you're not allowed to tie in the water line, whether you're the Board of Ed, you're the mayor, or anyone else in this room. Look, nothing would make me happier, having dealt with all the people involved, to make this issue go away and for you to be happy with the result. Now, I could have said, let's look the other way, and what would have happened? What would have happened was the people who oppose this, whether you agree or disagree with them, and I'm not going to tell you how I feel personally, but whether you agree or disagree, would have filed a lawsuit. And they would have gone to court, and the court very well could have ruled that, no, there's jurisdiction, send it back to the zoning board, and we back to square one. We have given the Board of Education numerous opportunities going back for months about how to expedite this process, special hearings, etc., get it over with. What that would have required is for them to go and present their case. I don't think there was major issues here, and it would have been stopped. But it's basically, they would have had to listen to the people who oppose to the project, voice their objections. They may disagree, it may be redundant, they don't want to hear it, but that's just the reality. Coming here was put in a no-win situation. I'm a lawyer. I'm charged here with executing the laws of this state, and the law says, in my reading and on advice of counsel, that outside counsel, that they're required to go before the zoning board. I think the only solution, and my understanding is that the Board of Education, while having filed a lawsuit a while ago, has now gone in with an order to show cause. Hopefully a court is going to resolve this one way or another in a very short period of time. That being said, and I know I don't want to repeat myself, but this was not political. The mayor and council had nothing to do with this. It had to do with one of our inspectors coming in and said they did something they shouldn't do. So I don't know what my message to you should be, is that sometimes we should look the other way. Look, my message, and look, I would like nothing more. I have 2 kids. My daughter was a Division I lacrosse player. I get it. I have to sit next to my good friend right here whose son plays on one of these teams. And I got news for you. I've heard about this privately on several occasions. She may not talk to me tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. But that being said, I didn't know what else to do here except to say to you that the law is the law, whether it's going to get zoning board review, whether it's having inspections or all these different things. My message to you is I follow the law. It may not make any of you happy, we're in a predicament here that I think there's a little blame to go around. And I can assure you that, with all due respect to the Board of Education, they're not without blame here, because we tried to engage in conversations for months, and there was literally no response until sometime in, I think, mid-January. But I assure you, we will do everything in our power, whatever the court rules. And with these inspections, look, if this was a politically motivated thing, this stop work order would have been issued months ago. It was not. And I can address the whole issue of the trees and the dirt. The tree application came in before any other application, so they got a permit to take down trees. Perfectly legitimate, but it wasn't because we were stopping the project. They said, we're cutting down trees. The contractor was very clever, did the tree issue, did a dirt issue, and then came and said, this is what we want to do. If you want to talk to me after the meeting, if you want to come to my office and talk, I invite parents, coaches, all the players back there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy. But I honestly did not think I had any choice here based on what was happening, but when I was told this deserves a stop work order, to say, issue the stop work order. But as for the people up here, they had literally and nothing to do with this, had no advanced knowledge of it. I didn't notify them afterwards. So this is just where we are. The place where we are stinks, but it is where we are, and I hope in the very near future we will get this resolved. I'm not telling you what you want to hear, but I'm telling you my honest opinion as an attorney, as a manager, and trying to get to a solution here that hopefully we can all move forward. So if you want to talk to me afterwards, I'll be happy to come out and speak to you. If you have questions, you can call my office tomorrow, or you want to come in to talk to me, that's fine, but I would be happy to do that. And we tried. Look, if we, as I mentioned before, if I said just move ahead and look the other way, and the opponents filed a lawsuit, which several of them told me privately they intended to do, we would be right back in the same place. I encouraged the Board of Education to take other steps. In going before the zoning board, they chose not to. They filed a lawsuit, so that's where we are. But hopefully in the very near future, we will have a resolution to this. So that's it, Mayor and Council.
Mr. LaPaul, I got to say thank you for giving us thorough accounting. We appreciate that, and certainly, I don't think anyone, certainly up here, I don't think anyone out there is telling you to ignore the law. We couldn't, nor I think would they. So hopefully we do have that rapid resolution, and I know you've always been on standby, ready to speak to anyone at any time on this issue, and that I'm hearing right tonight remains. So appreciate that.
Okay.
I only want to ask the manager this. I think the Board of Ed and everybody has to abide by the zoning laws and follow the procedures and all of that. But could just one, I'm not going to say bureaucratic, because I teach this and people don't like the word bureaucrats, but could one staff person just on their own make a decision without you, the town attorney, and maybe the department chair, that would be the department director of planning, reviewing the implications of that? In other words, for somebody to go out and say something's wrong and stop everything. Now, we want them to follow the rules, and I think the Board of Ed is guilty of certain rule violations with the trees. And I know the neighbors just wanted to have that little booth. Somebody here mocked it, but it's a historical thing. It had signatures and stuff, and they just want to have it preserved. They said that Dr. Pons said, yes, he'll make sure it's preserved. And then these workers there, the people doing the work, they just tore it down. See, these are little insensitive things that get the people upset. So I'm very sympathetic to the neighbors, but I'm also sympathetic to the students and the players and the families. And I don't understand how one person could have caused this massive crisis and this hostility and conflict in our town. I'm not saying you should look the other way or anything, but I'm saying, can't you and the superintendent get into the room and work these things out? You're paid $200,000 each or more, and we are not even involved. I'm told by the attorney when I asked him, we don't even have the right to rescind or lift what you're asking us to do, even if we wanted to. So I'm just asking, why can't you, I know you've tried to sit with the superintendent.
And we did have a good conversation
You had
last
a
month.
conversation,
We did
but
have a
I'm
good
saying,
conversation.
I would say you should walk over to 22 Valley Road tomorrow, or you guys should meet somewhere, eat lunch, or do something to work it out and get this settled. Thank you.
Mayor, if I just may point out quickly to respond to some of Councilman Russo's comments, the point that you made earlier is the construction official is the individual, township construction official is the individual that issues those stop work orders pursuant to law. He acts independently of the township. So he's required to, as you said yourself, Mayor, so there is no undue influence. He doesn't even take direction from the manager. So if the law is being violated, construction code's being violated, permits are improperly requested, then unfortunately, he's got to follow the law and do what he's obligated to do. So the council can't interfere and lift that stop work order. It has to be adjudicated by the Construction Appeals Board, and we are where we are as a result. Unfortunately, I can't go too deep into it because it's litigation. We're in litigation, and I have attorney-client privilege with the township, and I'm not at liberty to discuss it any further, other than we have retained counsel who is representing the township in the BOE versus Montclair matter that's covered by the JIF. And I would assume at some point in time there's going to be settlement negotiations that are going to happen. We have on our agenda tonight an executive session where I will be updating, giving the council a little bit more information on that.
Okay. And I certainly heard, Mr. Manager, you've offered in your conversations with the board or the superintendent multiple pathways to try and resolve this as quick as possible, and hopefully they choose to take some of them.
Yes, sir.
I see there's a lot of political and bureaucratic conflict. Just let's get it done.
All right. All right, with that, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate that. We are going to move into executive session, as our attorney just noted. So with that, I will move us into executive session. And again, this is to discuss any matters that, again, are for executive session pursuant to the rules and requirements of executive session under R-24-040, and I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. We'll go into executive session. We'll give them a couple minutes to get out and restrooms for anyone else. So we'll break for a couple minutes. Thank you. All right, thank you very much, everybody, and appreciate you back. Madam Clerk, I'd like to move appointments to a number of various committees to fill those positions, and thank everybody for their service. I so move.
Second?
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Appreciate that, everybody. With that, just want to say to everybody, I know briefly, and it's a nice little hour here, so Madam Clerk, any report?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Just this morning, I was here.
Is your microphone on?
Well, I'll figure this out by the time. I want to compliment our DCS on their efforts to remove the snow and doing salt and clearing the streets today. I was out there with them long before the workday started, and I drove around with the superintendent, and they were working hard, and I just want to compliment them on the job well done.
Agree fully. Granted, I hear from the earlier conversation about cars being moved so they can fully get what has to happen.
Right.
But I did notice they had to navigate a number of cars this time and a lot of driving around town. So it's something there we do need to address from that earlier comment.
no,
But
I agree
in
with
terms
that.
of the work that they did, really just, stellar job again. Really a testament to, I think, some of the decisions we made early on to make sure that, while I remember in 2012, there was a call to, outsource, privatize, and blah, blah, keeping them in the work that they do. Tremendous job. So tell them
I
thank
agree.
you. They're doing a great job. Councilman Terry.
I had an opportunity to go to an Eagle Scout ceremony for Troop 12 with 3 individuals that we put together proclamations for. I read the proclamations.
Excellent.
It was a great ceremony. I also showed them a picture of Troop 20, which was the first African-American troop in the Township of Montclair. Hopefully, before the end of the month, we'll be doing a dedication to that troop and some of the members that were involved. Some of them included, again, my dad, my uncle was the first African-American Eagle Scout in the Township of Montclair, and they went on to be Tuskegee Airmen. There's 3 individuals in the troop. Their last name are Kinney. Their father started the first African-American hospital in the city of Newark. So there's pretty famous individuals in there. So I'll keep you up. We'll talk about that a little bit more, at our next meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Councilman Russo?
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to see this before I give it to the clerk to keep or to the manager to keep. It's the check that the county gave for Montclair, $190,000 in CDBG money. I received this on behalf of the town council and town manager at the meeting the county held. They do it every year. This is money from last year, so some of the groups that applied, a lot of nonprofits applied for the future money. The CDBG money has been cut back over the years. This is a federal program which under President Bush was $6 billion nationally, cut to $3 billion after he had to spend the money on the Iraq war during the Bush administration. And what happened is it's gone down, always down more and more every year till the point now where our town gets about $300,000. The other town nonprofits are going to be each getting some money, $5,000, $10,000 each. But this comes to the town so we could do certain public works and other projects. The only other thing I wanted to mention is it's not only is Lincoln's birthday, it was my dad's birthday. And I have a picture that I got about my brother saved for my father's business in Newark when I grew up. I was 5 years old. And it's in a book about a team of rivals. It's a book about Lincoln by Doris Kearns Goodwin. So on the 12th of February, we should remember that's the anniversary of the founding of the NAACP, oldest civil rights organization in the country. It's Abraham Lincoln's birthday, the greatest president we ever had. And I always remember it being my father's birthday. He was my inspiration in Newark growing up as a kid. And so I just want to wish everybody happy President's Day's coming up, happy Valentine's Day, which is my anniversary, and I'm going home to my wife now. Thank you.
Councilwoman Price Abrams?
Thanks, Mayor. I'm just going to take the prerogative of sharing that my dad, Sheldon Price, passed away on February 3rd, and I've just been sort of in that space for the last little while. so I was down, I did see him earlier in the last day was on MLK Day. I was down for that long weekend. He lived down in Florida for a number of years with his wife. My mom, they've been split. He's been married to Adrienne for about 32 years and had raised 3 kids, my siblings and me, for the first part of his adult life. But, I know there's so many things that I owe who I am today to who he is and what he taught me, and if I can say a little bit of a sense of humor and a little bit of smarts and a little bit of card playing. So those are just some of the things that I will love and miss about my dad, and the time I had with my family. I appreciate the great outpouring of support from so many friends and many of you here. So just that's what I'll use my time to share. Thank you.
I'm glad
Our
you shared.
deepest sympathy to you.
Thank you
Deepest
very much.
sympathy. I
that's right.
appreciate that.
I'm glad you shared it, because I think it's in those moments of reflection that they live on, right? And a little bit in you. Yep. Mr. Burr?
Mayor, normally I say no report, but however today, condolences again to Lori and her family. I just want to take this minute to recognize the Montclair High boys fencing team. They came in first place in their District 3 tournament last week, and they are moving on to the state championships. My son, Gavin, is a member of the fencing team, the Sabre team, and it's just nice after what we saw with the baseball team and how important sports are, myself being a graduate of Montclair High School and a high school athlete also. It's just nice that they get some recognition, and it's pretty cool that state starts tomorrow. So I will keep everyone informed on how they do once we get to the end.
Well, good stuff, and always 100% appropriate to be talking about your kids' accomplishments and everything going on. So that's as you should be, smiling ear to ear. So we wish good luck, certainly. Yep, I will just simply say to everyone as well, whether it's it's a little bit of a theme, but whether it's the Boy Scouts, and everything there, or certainly the impact that parents have, and the roles that we all play as we kind of go through life here, as we come up on Valentine's Day and we spend time with those we love, and maybe have a little romantic evening or a night out or a moment together. I think I just want to say to you, as we listen to residents here and come forward with the issues that they're passionate about, I'm very appreciative of all of you, the work that you do. Thank you from staff all the way through, and the work that you guys all do there. Appreciate it. And certainly to my colleagues up here, being out in the community and doing so many things and making sure we're trying to help where we can and make a positive difference. So thanks, guys. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Night.
All right, great. We are adjourned. Thanks all.